Hey guys, so sorry about that. I was in a meeting and I was just, I couldn't like leave in time. We're getting some good stuff done though in the meeting, and I'm all blown out. One second, gonna configure my camera. I just use my hand most of the time. Tweak the gain. That'll do. Okay, it's a reaction time, baby. Also, hey guys who stuck around, thank you for sticking around. Thorn, you purposely made your submission annoying to watch. Why? Why? Oh my god, he's pale. You saw the real me for a second. No. Nah, that's it. My camera always like resets after every stream, and when you first turn it back on, it's like washed out like crazy. So yeah. Oh, hey Kittis, welcome to the stream. Also, hey Fireboy, welcome to the stream, and hey Mecha, welcome to the stream. I see DJ Karma was here at the start. I don't know if they're still here, but if you are, welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a good day so far. But we got aliens, man. Aliens. Oh my god, I forgot to change the the audio output.
George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell finally released the footage of a UFO filmed by military personnel at 29 Palms, California on April 20th, 2021. It showed 5 lights that started out in a nice triangle formation. They said they were not flares, but a lot of people thought they looked like flares, and flares can actually hang around for several minutes. They said about 10, but the actual duration is unknown. These are not super bright, so possibly infrared illumination flares, unlike the regular illumination flares that were launched later. The shimmering of the lights indicates they are far away, so the slow descent of flares would be less noticeable.
They could be
There was some
it's like they look almost like the kind of flares that a jet would let go if it was being chased by like a rocket or something. If a rocket using like heat signatures is targeting like a jet, sometimes they'll let flares a bit like this out, like boof of flares to like disorient missile. That's what it reminds me
claims
of.
that
I don't know if
this
that's what it
low-light
is, but
image showed a triangular craft, but that's really just the color bleed, which you can see around other objects in the scene.
Yeah.
The 5 lights start out in a nice formation that evokes a triangle, but they quickly separate into more random positions, like flares do. Then, John Greenwald of the Black Vault discovered that there was a big military exercise at that location on that night, with a lot going on and a lot of things in the air, including flares.
My meeting
on one
went
of
well.
the videos of the event, John found footage.
The meeting, it was a game development meeting with my team, and it seemed to go well. It went well from my perspective. We had some people. We had someone in there that isn't always there. Oh, hey, DJ Camera. Yeah, it's Chris. Welcome back, Chris. I like the name DJ Karma though, so I'm probably gonna keep using it. It reminds me of uh what the hell's his name? Professor K. It reminds me of Professor K from Jet Set Radio. It's DJ Karma. Chris seen it. No. Also, Fireboy, what did you mean about the made a mistake? Do you mean in terms of? Oh, you mean when I left the stream running? Yeah. Yesterday, I accidentally left the stream running a bunch over time. You should poop on your Reddit. Okay.
Footage of 5 flares that looked very similar. I realized this looked like it was taken from the other side, so I flipped it and on one of the videos of the event, John found footage of 5 flares that looked very similar. I realized this looked like it was taken from the other side, so I flipped it and overlaid it, and it's a near perfect match. Given the coincidences with date and location, and the fact that these lights look and act like flares, then I think we can safely say that these are the actual flares that were misidentified as a UFO. Military personnel are human. They are subject to the same illusions that we are. Sometimes when faced with something new, they might not be able to identify it. This happens perhaps more than we might like, but it's not something we should ignore just because it seems impolite. When looking at a UFO video, keep an open mind. Consider all the possibilities.
Yeah. It's like, there was that period of time a while back where there was a bunch of alien sightings that were like declassified. Or UFO sightings, I should say. Yeah. That stuff, it's like we always think, as soon as we hear that, military, UFO sighting stuff, people always freak out, but it's most of the time it's just the reason they call it a UFO because the UFO stands for unidentified flying object. They saw something flying and they didn't know what it was, whether it's actually flying or it's just has been launched by something or it's falling because of for some reason. It's in the air. It doesn't necessarily need to actually be like flying by the standard definition of flying. Something is in the air and it's not identified. Bruh, a UFO is a source. No, UFO stands for unidentified flying object. It just has to be in the air and be unidentified. And that qualifies as a UFO. Most of the UFO sightings are like it's nothing to do with aliens. The fact that UFO started getting used to mean alien saucer has really like like screwed up everyone's like mindset on what a UFO is. Anyway, I love the Onion. There may be more above. Ooh.
Moving on,
Onion is one of those ones where, did I get copyright blocked by the Onion? Or claimed? Or not? Was the Onion fine? I don't remember.
over 1.5 million diagnosed paranoid schizophrenics living in America today. Should our healthcare system be doing more to make sure they are safe to themselves and others by watching over them 24 hours a day?
Yes, we need to monitor these people to make sure they're safe. Hide cameras everywhere they go, in the streets, in their homes, in the eyes of people at the convenience stores where they shop.
Cameras aren't really enough.
I read it in a medical journal recently that a number of doctors have already begun to place microscopic tracking devices under the skin of schizophrenics, which is a great way to make sure that they don't get lost.
Yeah, and this article said here recently that most of them have had no problem with that, and it's a very non-invasive procedure and has proven to work very well
Painless.
so far.
Painless.
Schizophrenics often respond well to pleasant memories from their past. And one technique which might give them a little bit of relief is if we have their caregivers' faces surgically reconstructed so they look like the schizophrenic's dead relatives.
Now, some say that
Oh my
we should
God.
offer verbal encouragement by implanting speakers in their ears, which would whisper kind words to them 24 hours a day.
Couldn't agree more. I think what would be great would be a recorded voice on a loop saying, everyone around
good.
you wants to get you,
I couldn't remember.
in reference to help.
Of course, we can't have just one voice. We need to have more than one voice because then they know it's a team effort.
That's right. They feel supported by the community, and that's what we really should be going for.
But we have to do more than just calm them. You know, we have to give them practical advice, too. If I tell them which bus drivers hate them, which manholes are covering up underground government prisons, which statues don't love them anymore, that sort of thing.
This kind of technology would be expensive. Some people have said to slip it into their minds subconsciously, perhaps through coded anagrams that, let's say, we would hide or encrypt into books.
Definitely. They'll think that they're just reading, standard literature, but actually it will be encoded instructions from people who want to help them.
In newspapers or inside the tattoos of people on the street.
Just the ingredients on a box of cereal, anything that they might read.
And
like a
this
great
is an
place to
area
start.
where I think that we could really get some help from the government. We could be using this stealth planes and helicopters to be tracking the paranoid schizophrenics as they're going through their daily lives.
We already have the ability to make everything that's the color red signal data and images back to the government's underground bunkers. And we should be using this technology to help these people.
Oh my God, that is brilliant. That is a brilliant clip. Well, I mean, you're a speaker. Oh, yes, I made that same mistake, yes. I made that same mistake last time. Wait, it is working, though, now, isn't it? I'll just quickly open this next one. I would buy it. Okay, yes, it's working, okay. Good. Yeah, if you if you research a UFO and you discover what it is, it's no longer, even if it is a saucer, even if it's an alien saucer, it's no longer a UFO because you've identified it. If it's an alien saucer, you've discovered what it is. It's no longer a UFO. It's an alien saucer. That was pretty much it. Oh yeah. What's up, Mecha? You just said Rory.
Tech-savvy consumers are lining up today to be the first to purchase Sony's brand new stupid piece of shit that doesn't do the goddamn thing it's fucking supposed to.
I think I've
Onion
seen
News
this.
Network
I
Tech
remember
Trends
this.
reporter Jeff Tate has more.
Thanks, Brandon. It's being called the biggest fucking waste of your hard-earned money to come along in years. Sony's new stupid box thing hit the shelves at crowded malls and overpriced electronics stores around the country today.
It's got a whole bunch more memory and megapixels and whatnot than any of the other TV shit that I already have. I can't wait to get home and spend my whole fucking night trying to figure the goddamn thing out.
If you can somehow claw and bite your way through the impossible-to-open packaging, this stupid piece of shit offers a wide variety of frustrating as hell functions, including flashing random fucking words and numbers on its display screen, not coming with the fucking little doohickey thing it's supposed to, and being goddamned ass-backward as fuck. Sony spokesman Alan Compton said the company designed this sucking fucking goddamn thing to make everyone in the modern home want to tear their fucking eyeballs out.
We listened hard to what our customers said they wanted the most out of their own home entertainment system, and then we pumped out this impossible-to-use fucking piece of shit.
Anyone mystified by the device's numerous extraneous features can scroll through the interactive help menu, a labyrinthine maze of indecipherable topics of use to fucking no one.
We want people to be screaming in unison from houses across the country. Work, work, you cocksucking piece of shit. What is wrong with you? Why can't you work like a normal machine?
With a $100 million nationwide campaign to plaster irritating-ass advertisements for the retarded hunk of garbage every single goddamn place you look, Sony is expecting it to become the next fucking gizmo you absolutely have to fucking own if you don't want to feel like a toothless hillbilly living in some hillbilly shack somewhere.
I love bullshit like this. Basically, I'll buy any goddamn thing that I see in an ad.
The fucking piece of shit is available now. So run out and pick one up and invite all of your friends over to see if any of them can figure out this motherfucking time vampire. Unless one of them is a rocket scientist, Sony pretty much guarantees they'll have no chance. For the Onion News Network, I'm Jeff Tate.
Thanks, Jeff. Sony says they plan to release an upgraded 800-gigabyte version of this piece of shit by the end of the year, just when you figured out the goddamn remote control for this one. It never ends, this shit.
I wish news presenters and people would swear more to me. Carry on 2012 year old. Oh, I feel bad because he has actually passed away. But yeah, those pieces so good. I love the scene at near the end there where even the Sony spokesperson is trying to use the device and is like, fuck. Even the Sony spokesperson is like swearing at the device. Yeah, I'd buy it. I'd buy it. Yeah, we got one more. We got two more Onion videos. Apple introduces revolutionary new laptop with no keyboard. Oh, it's the spiral thing. Yeah.
The tech world is buzzing over Apple's latest must-have gadget, the MacBook Wheel, a revolutionary new laptop that does away with the keyboard. Tech Trends reporter Jeff Tate has more.
Thanks, Andrea. Say goodbye to the keyboard and hello to the future of laptop computers. With the MacBook Wheel, Apple has replaced the traditional keyboard with a sleek, touch-sensitive click wheel. Apple CEO Steve Jobs introduced the product yesterday at the annual Mac Expo. Senior product innovator Brian Gilman says the MacBook Wheel will make typing a thing of the past.
At Apple, our philosophy is create products that are simple to use, and nothing's more simple than a single giant button.
Gilman showed me how the revolutionary new computer works.
Just open the Intuitype alphabet menu here, scroll to the letter you need, see? And center click to select it. Then click again to capitalize, and repeat this process for each new letter. It couldn't be simpler. You can also let the predictive sentence technology complete the sentence for you.
Gilman says the MacBook Wheel has also simplified the organization of files, so searching your hard drive will be a snap.
Just press both sides of the wheel concurrently and center click, and there you have an alphabetical listing of every file on your hard drive. Everything is just a few hundred clicks away.
Apple is calling the
Just a
MacBook
few
Wheel the most
hundred clicks
intuitive
away.
product ever designed.
Here at Apple, we like to think that we're giving customers features they don't even realize they want.
While the MacBook Wheel won't hit the shelves for another 3 to 15 months, many Apple users already have it on their wish list.
I'll buy almost anything if it's shiny and made by Apple.
Alex Zalman was one of the lucky few to get to try out a Mac Wheel and spent 45 minutes typing an email to his friend.
I never really realized how much I hated keyboards until I saw this thing. I like how the email automatically says sent from a MacBook Wheel. That way people know you have one.
With a price tag of just under $2,600 for the lowest-end MacBook Wheel, it is an investment. But the super thin laptop features numerous innovations like the new ultra-thin Hummingbird battery, which can power the MacBook Wheel for a full 19 minutes before needing to be recharged. And the computer is virtually
can literally
unbreakable
see
unless
it
dropped or
counting
hit.
down.
But Apple isn't resting on its laurels. Brian Gilman said they are already hard at work on the next generation of the MacBook Wheel, which will be 4 ounces lighter due to its lack of screen, hard drive, or wheel. For the Onion News Network, I'm Jeff Tate.
Thank you for that,
folder.
Jeff. It remains to be seen if the wheel will catch on in the business world where people use computers for actual work and not just dicking around. Moving on, police warn that the Sudoku killer will kill either 1, 4, or 9 victims next.
That's the Sudoku killer. Oh. I just like read what that said. Oh jeez. That's great. Yeah, everything is just a few hundred clicks away. Ah, such a good line. And I just love the random dude who's like just delivers such a sincere delivery for the line that's like, oh, and I love how it always posts or it always includes posted with the MacBook Wheel so that everyone knows that you have one. He delivered that line so sincerely. Such a fucking douchey feature. Like he actually likes that bullshit. Oh, it's brilliant. This one's horrible, but it's so funny. Yeah, ex-pedophile shares tips on how to make your kids less attractive. Oh, the Onion.
Every parent's worst nightmare, of course, is that their child falls victim to a sexual predator.
But it's hard to know how to keep your kids safe.
Yeah, it is. But today we're going to get some insider tips from a child safety expert and ex-pedophile, Terry Parker. Welcome to the show,
Hi,
Terry.
Jim and Tracy. Thanks for having
Terry.
me.
Oh, thank you for being
Now,
here.
Terry actually kidnapped and sexually molested children for over 20 years, and he
Wow.
was eventually convicted of 13 counts of sexual assault against minors.
Yes, well, that's all behind me now. I don't do that sort of thing anymore.
Now, Terry, you say first off that a lot of the conventional wisdom we all know about how to protect our children from predators is actually wrong.
Yes, for instance, a lot of people tell their kids, don't talk to strangers.
I tell my kids that all the time.
Right. When a pedophile is looking for a little boy or girl to take, he's not interested in having a conversation with them. He simply wants their small body pressed against his.
So he's going to abduct them whether they talk to him or not.
Yeah, you don't have to lure them into a car. You simply take the child where you want them. Their bodies are so light.
But you do recommend that parents try to make their children less attractive to pedophiles, right?
Right. Clothing is a huge factor. If you put a girl in a sundress and French braids in front of the average pedophile, he's going to get an erection that'll rip his bike shorts.
Well, that's good to know.
Yes, it is. So what should parents do?
Dress them in dirty clothing, mess up their hair. Still, this will only deter about 90% of all pedophiles. You know, personally, I prefer a kid that looks a little rough and tumble.
Before we go, I have to discuss the situation that no one wants to face. Your child is abducted. There's no ransom note, so you know the motive isn't money, it's sex. And how can a parent hope to get their child back?
First of all, he or she won't be a child anymore.
No?
Any
Oh my
childhood
God.
innocence will have been stripped away the moment the pedophile's sweaty arm goes down your kid's pants. Your child's best bet is to grab a sharp object to stab at the man with, like a pencil, which is
Really?
actually how I got this.
Ooh, I bet you didn't get very far with that kid.
Oh my God. No.
Well, Terry, well, thank you so much for being with us this morning and opening our eyes to this situation. And if we can just protect one child out there from people like you, we will have done our job.
I'm glad to help.
Yeah.
Thanks, Terry. Okay, coming up next, out of the frying pan and into the dryer, a new way to make pierogi.
Yum, yum.
Jesus fucking Christ. Sounds about right. Jesus Christ. That would hit me like a fucking ton of bricks. Oh my god. The fucking line. Like, is there anything we can do to help to try and get our kids back? Well, they aren't kids anymore, he says. Like, your child's innocence is stripped from away from them as soon as insert rest of line here. Oh my fucking god, that's too real. It's way too real. Oh. Fucking hell, man. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant, but like horrifying. Miss the old Onion videos. I haven't, to be fair, most of the Onion stuff that I've seen is from the past. Like, I don't really know. Most of the writers became College Humor. That's interesting. You didn't like that? Yeah, that was an incredibly dark. You have to be someone who enjoys dark humor. If you don't enjoy dark humor, I can understand if you don't like that one. Because it was pretty fucked. Yeah. Anyway, don't fall for unauthorized Steam Deck resellers. They're bad news. Oh.
So you can buy the 64 gigabyte Steam Deck for $400 from the Steam store.
Yeah.
Or you can buy it at walmart.com from an unauthorized third party for $500. Don't waste your money. Don't buy from unauthorized resellers. This looks very weird. Don't fall for this.
Just don't. Yeah. Yeah. That's actually something that I'd seen already as well. What is maddening to me is if I check Steam Deck. Yeah. If I want to buy a Steam Deck in New Zealand, I think we talked about this in a previous stream, didn't we? Well, Steam Deck. Oh. Huh. It didn't automatically come up with the Steam store. Right. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't buy directly from Steam or from Valve if I want to buy a Steam Deck. Oh, yeah, it's gonna just do that again. Wait. Where is it? Here it is. Yeah. If I was able to buy straight from Valve, these, like, this is the American price. This is the American price for the 512. It's $649, which 649 USD and NZD equates to about $1,000. So, like, I'll just prove it. It's about $1,000. 649 USD and NZD is about 1,000 New Zealand dollars. So this, you can understand a markup of a couple $100 or something like that. The distributor here who is allowed to sell on behalf of, well, $1,000, it equates to the same amount approximately. Like, it seems like a lot, but it's like, I could go with the cheaper one, I suppose. If I go with the $399 one, this one here, the 64 gig, is 658 New Zealand dollars. So it turns from $400 US to 650. It's just the exchange rate. It's not actually more expensive. It's just the exchange rate. I mean, there's a lot of nuance to it. Let's just say that. But whatever the case, so this one translating to about $1,000. You can expect maybe a retailer here would sell it for like 1,200 maybe, so they can make a little bit of profit off that. So they get the $1,000, they pay the $1,000, and they pay for the whatever shipping it requires to get it here. Well, I imagine they'd buy it in bulk, so they'd have some sort of, like, the shipping would be much less for them overall. But maybe they'd make a couple $100 off the top of that. So maybe at most 1,250, maybe 1,300. No, the only retailer in New Zealand that has it is seemingly Mighty Ape, and they're selling it for $1,600. If I want to get a Steam Deck, what versions do they have? Yeah, these are the versions that I have available the 64, 256, and 512. It starts at $1,200. That is a $600 markup from the small one. That's a $600 markup there. I think they all probably will equate to that. I didn't even calculate that one, but this is also a $600 markup. Both these versions. This is the only game store I can buy it from. There is no other game store in New Zealand that sells Steam Decks. Steam Deck NZ. Yeah. Again, there are some places that I could get it shipped from that might be a little bit cheaper, but it's still, yeah, honestly, the way that I'd want to do it, if I was actually going to buy a Steam Deck, which I would if I had the money for it, but I don't, I'm too poor. The way I would go about buying it, God, even at fucking, even secondhand, it's so expensive. If I was gonna buy it, what I'd probably want to do is, also, we don't have eBay here, by the way. eBay is an American thing. We don't have eBay. Yeah, no, for whatever reason, I guess it's because while Gabe loves New Zealand, they just don't see New Zealand as being a valuable market to sell to. I don't know why. I don't know why they don't just set up shipping routes, shipping stuff for New Zealand and Australia. Because yeah, if they set up, even if they set up just a shipping route to Australia, I see those hearts. Whoever is sending them. I can do. Oh, I would be able to do it too, but I disabled it from my end so I could see the chat better. Is you? Nice. Yeah, no, what I would want to do, if I was actually going to buy a Steam Deck, what I would probably try and do is go for one of those, like, drop ship places. I'd look for the cheapest drop shipping option I could go for, and just buy it straight from Valve. Get it sent to an address in America, and then forwarded from that address in America to New Zealand. Because it will probably be cheaper than buying it locally. Yeah. Yeah, because if this equates to $1,000, and it does end up, being about $1,000 or a little, even if it's a little more than $1,000, if I then have to spend $100 on shipping, that's still cheaper than buying it locally. Because that would equate to, let's say that it doesn't, the exchange rate doesn't work out in my favor, and it ends up being $1,100. If I then also have to spend like $100 getting it shipped, that's still only $1,200 compared to $1,600. We have Kmart, yes, we do. Kmart doesn't sell Steam Deck. But we do have Kmart here, yes. And yeah. Good point. I'm distracted. How the heck did Steam freeze while streaming? Steam not responding. It totally froze. I'm assuming this is you streaming it to your phone. I mean, I'm allowed to rant. I probably will rant. But it's just, having a secondary backup stream to help catch up. Stream to my phone. Yeah. A month and 26 days. Is that, wait, what's a month and 26 days? If Steam is frozen while streaming, then inputs won't work at all. Yeah. I do see that. Chris. Sending those emojis. Very close. Oh, there's a clip. That's what it says. Oh. Yeah. That was a great moment. Oh, okay. Close it. That was a great moment. Because he started running all of a sudden. Previously he was walking and he just suddenly started running and he was right there and I was they brought back the Xbox 360 controller. Oh.
If you missed the original 360 controller, you might want to give this a look. Hyperkin is an accessory and hardware manufacturer that, to be perfectly honest, I have had very mixed feelings on. They've made some stuff that I think is really cool, and I've enjoyed using, and other stuff where not so much. But in the camp of stuff that I have really liked and enjoyed, one of my favorites was their replica of the Duke controller. This was an officially licensed by Xbox controller made by Hyperkin that replicated the look and feel of the original Xbox Duke controller, while adding just a little bit of its own updates and changes, while also making it a controller used for modern day systems. And now, 5 years later, they're at it again for the 360 with the Xenon wired controller.
The original Xbox having the black and white button was fascinating, but confusing to me.
This is a replica of the original 360 controller that has a couple additional buttons to make it work on modern systems. Obviously, you can use it with PC like you would an original 360 controller, or you could, of course, use it with the current Xbox Series systems or the Xbox One systems from last gen. Speaking of Xbox, by the way, real quick, we are just a couple weeks away from their summertime showcase where we'll hopefully be seeing some new game reveals, some actual gameplay revealed for games we've heard about, maybe get some release dates, find out what's going on the rest of this year going into next year. I am planning on covering that when it's going on, so make sure to subscribe so you do not miss out on that. Now, as of the time that I'm making this video, this controller has not actually officially released yet. Hyperkin sent this over in its different colors for me to check out and try out. So I put some time into it, playing a bunch of actually either 360 backwards.
I never had an Xbox, so I never really got used to this kind of controller. But I've heard people say that they really love this controller. I personally don't like having the analog stick here and here. I like the symmetry of a PlayStation controller. I do like the old Xbox, the original Xbox controller, just because of how big and bulky and like crazy it is. It's such a big controller, the original Xbox controller. Some of my friends had original Xboxes with the big chunky controller. And yeah, you can like barely fit your baby hands around the big heavy controller. Yeah. No, I'm all for I'm a PlayStation guy, through and through. But this is cool though. Like if you really love that original Xbox 360 controller, this is awesome. I would recommend checking it out. Even though I'm not I'm not an Xbox 360 person. Anyway, Robo Party. Is this in response to? No, this was before the stream. It just happened to be we were talking about Robo Dogs in yesterday's stream. That is adorable. This one. Okay, wait. No, I have to step back. The little leap, and then the stompies. The little side hop, and then the stompies. It even does like dog begging animation. That's adorable. Yeah, I'll refresh the page, yeah. That's cool. Gyroscope. Like a robot that is two-wheeled using a gyroscope. That's badass. Oh, it's like kind of four-legged, but it only has two wheels. That's interesting. Oh my god, that robot rolled over. It was briefly on its back. This is adorable. The fucking begging robot. I also love these two-wheeled robots. These are fascinating. they're so like able to maintain their like the fact that they can stay balanced so nicely. But like these are the kind of robots that I was talking about the other day. These are the kind of robots that I feel like people accept. These kind of robots. Like these are the kind of robots people love to see. You put a humanoid robot in there and it's like it's creepy. It's unnerving. Yeah. Those are the kind of robots that we need for the future. Robots are spreading. Yeah. AI scares you. Robots have gone too far. I like those robots though. Yeah, for me it's the humanoid ones that are creepy. Oh damn. Sweet Tooth has his classic license plate in the Peacock series. Stop for children. It's a fucking terrifying. Oh, ice cream. Nice. Wait, I'm gonna look at the Twist Middle one. One Sweet Tooth. I'm looking for the truck while you're driving it. Oh my god. None of these shots have it like in game. I was gonna say, I can't remember. Is it, which game is it that has the ice cream? God damn it. Half the problem. Half the problem with the way that Twisted Metal games work is that I was under the same impression for the longest time. I used to always think that the characters were named. I used to mix up the characters and the cars. The cars have a name and the characters have a name. And usually when you choose your character, you're actually choosing your car. The character just happens to come along with it. So, for instance, like Sweet Tooth is actually the name of the ice cream truck, not the name of the clown. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to find an example. I was gonna say, it doesn't show it on there. Oh, that's because it's modified. But yeah, somewhere on one of the games he has this number plate. It's, and they've copied it for the show, which is cool. I've never played a Burnout game. That's a lie. I probably played it at a friend's house, but I don't know. GTA 5 has a clown car. Oh, I don't remember that in GTA 5. I know GTA Vice City has a ice cream truck. And the ice cream truck mission, like, specialty vehicles have like specialty missions. You're selling ice cream from the ice cream truck. Don't worry that you get police attention whenever you sell them. If you sell an ice cream. Getting magicians upset tutorial. Oh. it's drugs.
So recently on YouTube, I've been watching videos of a certain comedian / permanent member of the FBI watch list make lists on how to gaslight people that he disagrees with. So what I thought I would do is that I would blatantly rip off that bit, but give you guys a list on how to gaslight magicians. Now I've written some bits and byplay here that are going to guide me.
You disappeared from the meeting.
But this is a great list, even if you aren't a magician
okay.
yourself. If you're a layperson, as we call you, could you imagine that magicians refer to people that don't know magic tricks as lay people? Some go even as far as calling them muggles. Muggles, like they live in some sort of demented Harry Potter world. It's amazing what no vagina does to a man, right? So I would argue that this list is better if you're not a fan of magic. If you're someone that just happens to, I don't know, have a relative or a friend or someone that happens to be the magician in your group. So let's go through the list and hopefully make you a better person. The first thing is tell them I've seen this trick before. No matter what the trick is, you want to say I've seen this one before. Of course, the timing for this one is particularly important because you want to do it as they're taking out their props. So if they happen to be removing a deck of playing cards and haven't even done anything, you want to say, oh, I've seen this one before. Or if they take out some coins, maybe for a coin trick, you go, oh, yeah, I've seen this one. It gets right under their thin skin. It's one of the best things you could do. The other one is when they have you pick a card, immediately forget it. Don't even make an attempt to try to remember the card. So when they ask you later, hey, what's your card? Just go, I forgot it. Equally, when they have you pick a card and then they find it again, it's always going to be found again. Tell them that's not it. Tell them that's not the card. This one's pretty good. Get aggressive when they touch you. Magicians have the tendency to touch you and to try to get in your space and be in your area. So when they grab your hand and tell you to move it somehow, get really aggressive with them. Throw your hands down and go, no. Magicians will always try to touch you, and it's so gross and disgusting. They'll try to touch you in the
You just... This might be... Is this horrible? I just thought, it's like... Magicians would probably have a rough time doing magic tricks on certain people with autism. With specific autism that, like, the kinds that they don't like to be touched. So you could just pretend to have that kind of autism. Is that bad? That sounds like a horrible thing to do, but it would fuck with the minds of the magicians.
Shoulder, they'll try to grab your hand. So the moment they try to touch you, get defensive. No,
oh, I didn't notice that. His shirt does say "Pink Lives Matter." What the fuck?
Tricks. When magicians get together in like conventions or
what does that even mean?
They'll inevitably show you a trick.
I don't even know what that means.
So what you have to do at this point is to tell them that you invented that trick. No matter what, I don't care if it's something that they had to go to Asia to mass manufacture and they've invested pretty much their entire net worth into. You tell them that you invented that trick. And this ties into the previous one of lying profusely. You want to lie to them. If they ask you a question, tell them an untruth. Same thing with the example I just gave you, right? Lie. Lie when they ask you, oh, when did you invent a trick? Come up with some bullshit story. No matter what they tell you, make sure that what comes out of your mouth is a lie. You never want to tell them the truth. And this is going to get them really upset. This is another great one. When they're performing, cross your arms and talk loudly. Now, this one's great because you don't necessarily have to talk to anyone in particular. Just cross your arms and then just start talking.
And it depends on what the kind of magician they are.
Crazy how they were. The Packers, the football team, right? From the football game. They weren't doing so well yesterday. Just came from the gym. I just hit chest pretty hard. I always tend to hit chest pretty hard. It's my best day. Tell them a made-up story about your own performances. Now, this one's great if you're not a magician. So if they're a magician and they're telling you some sort of story about them performing, what you want to do is that you want to go, oh, that's crazy. I did a bigger performance. They did a trick for a president. Oh, I did a trick for 20 presidents at the same time. They let me sleep with their wives, and I showed the wives tricks. So I was doing tricks for everyone, you know? So that beats your story, your little stupid, insignificant story, your dumb story, you stupid idiot. This usually gets them upset because all they have are their stories. All they have are these wonderfully embellished stories that may or may...
Anyway, that's a funny idea. The idea of fucking with a magician. I don't know why that idea, like, I don't want to do any of the, like, hardcore things he suggested, but, like, the idea of forgetting your card or lying and saying, no, that's not my card. Like, get right in the minds of get right into the minds of the magician and fuck with their head. Narcissist lives matter. Narcissist. Oh my god. Yeah. No, I don't know what Pink Lives Matter means, but the whole point of the label Black Lives people react negatively to the label Black Lives Matter. I did initially because I immediately, when I first heard the Black Lives Matter thing back, this was years ago when I first ever heard it, my first reaction was like, I'm always the equalist. I'm always the one who tries to find level ground. And I was like, well, all lives matter, right? But then immediately I realized why that reaction is the reaction that... It's the reaction that a lot of the, like, the right side. I say right. The Republicans of America, they always have that reaction because that's their knee-jerk, that's a knee-jerk reaction to have. Is like, well, everyone's lives matter, right? But the point of BLM is that in the past, or and it's still to this day, a lot of the times people just don't see minority lives, the lives of minority races, as being the same. You have a news report of a missing person. You make that missing person like a blonde white woman, and people lose their fucking minds about it. There's like individuals going out in search for this person. There's like people looking over their shoulders for this person. You do it just like you have that same report, and it's just like a regular aged, like a middle-aged black guy, and people will fucking, it's almost not even a news story. It's not even considered a news story in America. So, there's some serious fucking inequality in people's attention and mindset around different races of people. And so the whole BLM thing is to say, well, no, those people's lives, they matter just as much as anyone else's. Those lives matter. That's what the whole point of that movement is. It's not saying that their lives matter and everyone else's doesn't. It's that everyone's life matters equally. That you shouldn't discriminate just because of that person's life shouldn't matter less because they are because of the color of their skin, because of their gender, their sexuality, whatever, how they identify, their mental disorders, their handicaps. That shouldn't matter. A life is a life, Anyway, answering your questions. Oh, I did see this. Yeah, this should make digits happy if they're here. Oh, 1513. I did watch this video already, but I didn't give it a like.
He asks, have you ever tried other game engines like
Right.
Unreal?
That's right, I saw this whole section, yeah. Sebastian Lark tried Godot for the first time.
Godot. I've actually not tried any other game engine since I first learned Unity around 10 years ago. But I've been wanting to take a look at Godot for a while, so now that you mention it, let me just go ahead and finally do it. That is a very tiny file. I like it already.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a little 3D scene in front of us. I'm not sure where my
Read
y-axis
a book
keeps
called The Golden
disappearing to,
Ass.
but that's not important right now. I just want to figure out how to make a cube. Are there any cubes in here? No cubes. Maybe a box? That looks more promising. Perhaps this one. Alright, pretty exciting. Before I get too carried away though, I want to actually follow this guide in the docs to create my first 2D game. So step 1, launch Godot. Way ahead of you. Step 2, download some sprites. Alright. Step 3, set the window size to 480 by 720. Okay, I'm going seriously off the rails here. Don't tell anyone. Next, I need a node for the player, and a child node to hold its graphics. I'll drag those in here. Very cute.
Yeah, he seemed
Alright,
to
making
have
it smaller,
do
and
pretty
now
well with
adding
this.
a collision shape. What's next? Okay, we're coding already. This should be interesting. So we have an update and a start function over here.
The big problem for me with Godot, while I like what I see with Godot, there's two big problems. One of them, it doesn't have a live playback screen, which I use a lot. They have the scene view, but they don't have a game view, which I use all the time with Unity. The second thing is what it's about to show here, is that it's programming language. The programming system it uses is it's proprietary. Well, it's not proprietary. Godot has its own programming language. Also, it's Python based. Nah, not Python. I hate Python. Not for any legitimate reasons. You make games? I do make games. If you look back at my channel stuff, if you look back throughout the channel, I've actually hosted 2 game jams, where people were able to submit games and win some money. I was planning to have had a game jam by now this year, but has first class. Oh, C# scripting since 4.0. Oh shit. Oh, cool. I wonder if Godot is going to go the same direction that Unity went, where Unity started out as JavaScript script files, and then switched over to C# scripting. I wonder if Godot is going to do something like that, where it started off with this like Python system, and it's going to slowly shift towards C#. Coding is, I'm not going to lie, yes. It's not, yes and no. I would say, for the average person, yes, coding is difficult, but it just takes time to learn it. I went to university and learned programming at university, so I got like the perfect kind of introduction for your Java, C# style programming. I doubt they'll get rid of GDScript. It is good for new people. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Python, I only hate Python because I learnt Java and C# as my starting language. My very first language I learned was a highly structured language. But that's the thing though, is it's highly structured, but it also isn't. I love the way that Java and C# work, and that the way that they're written is a very sort of like, it seems like a very structured system where you got like opening, closing brackets surrounding everything, and you always have to like start your things in specific ways. But beyond that, you can have like you can have as many or as few spaces between things. You can have things inline or outline, like you can have things written in the same line, or you can have them on new lines. It doesn't matter. It does the same code. Like I was always blown away. One of the first demonstrations of the power of Java or C# was the fact that our lecturer showed us some code. There's some code written out, and then they opened a new file which was the same code, but it was an ASCII fucking image. It was like an anime girl character, like made out of the code that they had just written. And I was like baffled. And that code that looks like an anime girl made out of ASCII characters functioned perfectly. because there's like lots of flexibility with the way you write C# and Java. I hate that if I get the indentation slightly wrong in Python, that it will fuck up the code. The code will not run properly. If I have an extra space between something, it'll fuck up the Python code. Yeah. I don't like that at all. I hate Python. Dear. I want to start game development, but I don't know how to code. Right. I would highly recommend going to, like, doing a computer science class, if you have computer science classes at your school. If you are wanting to go more long term, computer science degree. Get a computer science degree, or probably better, if you have a good university or school or whatever to go to, do a game development course or paper, or study game development. Because when I was going through university, there wasn't really a game development paper I could do. But in like a few years after I left university, the a university right next to the university I went to literally had a game development paper that you could do as a degree. And I have contemplated over the years going and doing that paper, just less so for the learning and more so just for the networking, because that university is linked up with a bunch of game development stuff, game development industry stuff in New Zealand. And so it's really tempting to do the paper just to get access to the lecturers who have networking function, capabilities with other parts of the industry. Is C++ difficult to learn, or is that just nonsense? C++ is, I would say, from my perspective, I think C++ is harder to learn than, it's definitely harder to learn than Python. It's harder to learn, in my opinion, than Java and C#, just because of the way those programming languages are written. But if you learn C++, your knowledge of C++ should be pretty transferable. Like, it should be highly transferable to C# and to Java, honestly. I would say there is part of me that, like, I'm glad that I learned C#, Java, but there's part of me that wishes I had learned C++, at university. There's part of me that wishes that more papers, like, again, I don't think I wanted to, I wish I had replaced my Java, C# knowledge, but I really wish that there were more papers that required C++, so that I had learned it better, because I did not learn C++ very well. Like, I learned some of the most basic parts of it, and nothing I had to do really had to use any of the special C++ stuff. The only C++ I had to do, I wrote it like it was C#, and it worked. It did what I needed it to do, so I never really learned any of the special C++ stuff. Is it specific what you have to type for code? You're not in school anymore? Okay, well, I'm talking about, when I talk about this stuff, I really mean, if you're not at school anymore, university, or college, or whatever you want to call it, tertiary education, post-high school, post-school education. There are lots of papers, there's lots of school, like, I call them schools, but what I mean is there's lots of places of education you can go to as an adult, to learn. You're not in school anymore too? Oh yeah, that's right! Congratulations, Fireboy, for graduating. Yeah. Freaking wild, that's cool. Yeah. But now that you've finished school, there's always university or further education. I know it's expensive, and not everyone can afford to do that, especially with loans the way they work in America. Here in New Zealand, loans are supported by the government. Like, if you want to get a university loan, you can get a loan through the government, and that loan is no interest, interest-free. So, I have a huge amount of debt that I owe to the government for my education, but it's only ever shrinking in value because there's no interest on it. The longer it takes me to pay it off, the less I have to pay off, basically. Is there specific words you have to use for code? I mean, depends what you mean by that. Yes. Things like, I mean, if you're writing in Python, or if you're writing in this programming language, the word func is important. It depends on, there are all sorts of keywords and things you have to learn when you're wanting to program. There's lots of structure you need to learn, but I would highly recommend that you either get further educated, like post-school education, like university or college, or a diploma, or a paper, a course, whatever. If you can't afford that, which is totally understandable, there are so many resources online that you can learn, you can self-teach. But I personally am glad that I had university to go to help me, because that's how I learned.
And I'm supposed to create a speed variable with this export keyword to make it show up in the inspector.
So yeah.
Oh no, my first error message. So it's saying it can't display the variable in the inspector without knowing what type it is. Fair enough. You are a number. A floaty number. Wait, where did the semicolon come from? Get out of here.
Yeah. See, I like having semicolons at the end of the
if we can use ternary operators in this language.
I'm
I want
used
to
to
set
it.
the animation state like this. If you want a ternary operator, use truthy value if true condition, else falsy value. Well, that's an unexpectedly helpful error message. I'm guessing this language is based on Python. At least so far it seems extremely similar. Anyway, let's try this out. I'm pressing down. Why am I going up? Wait, negative values are up? Literally unusable.
Yeah.
Okay, I can move around properly now, and
that is something that's weird that I don't think I'll ever get that. Why do they choose to make why do they choose to make it like a screen? Because that's what I remember learning with screens in like a lot of I think it's a Windows thing, isn't it? Windows screens. The Y value starts from the top left. The top left is the start is 0, 0. So like this point here would be positive X, positive Y. And that's just wrong. That's just wrong for me. And so yeah, why would they use down as positive Y in Godot? That's so weird.
The sprite flipping and different animations playing based on the movement direction. So pretty fancy. Alright, now to spawn an enemy, I'm supposed to instantiate the enemy scene.
So if you look at stuff like this,
I guess
Chris,
are like game objects in Unity.
this kind of
and
stuff is what you'd
equivalent
expect to
forms of
write
scene, which is like
in
Unity.
when you're programming.
If scenes in Unity were also
These aren't.
Am
This
I
is
on
a
the right track?
This is a Python-based system,
I
so
do
this
wish
looks a
this
little
spawn
different from
point
some
could tell
other
me what properties it has.
code.
I
But
guess if I specify the type here, it might work. It's still nothing. That's a bit strange. Anyway, I'll give the enemies a random starting angle and a random speed as well. And then let's try out my first Godot game.
I don't know why, but I hate the fact that there are no line enders.
This is actually pretty intense. I need to concentrate here. And I'm dead. How am I supposed to focus with you staring at me like this? Alright, now that I have at least a basic handle on the engine, let's try messing around a little.
Are adorable.
I've heard that support for compute shaders was added recently, so maybe we can take a look at that. Okay, following the example in the
Good
docs,
idea,
I've written
yeah,
a simple
yeah.
compute shader that just calculates powers of 2. The syntax is a bit different than I'm used to, since this is GLSL, not HLSL, but nothing major. Then here's some code that sets things up for running it, and then the code that actually runs it and
I'm assuming, like, we saw an example of that before, where he was expecting autofill to come up and it didn't. I'm assuming you mean like that. There's no good environment. There's no good program for writing the code out. Yeah. Even the built-in one doesn't seem to have an autofill system. Tight screen in the corner.
reads back the result. So let's
Writer
try
is
it
better
out.
than any other IDE.
And there's our
never,
data.
Never used that. Writer.
Okay, I've been messing around a bit more. Are you ready to see something exciting? Look at this. Triangle moving, counter, counting. So this represents a few new things I've learned. The first is how to update the contents of a buffer without just creating the whole thing again. And so as a test, I am updating
I will
the time
have
in
to
the
check
shader,
that out.
and then using that to animate.
I will say, Rider looks a lot like Visual Studio. Best game dev ID? I mean, visually, it looks a lot like Visual Studio. It's complete support for C# and C++ with Unity, Unreal, and Godot integration. Oh, shit. Damn. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Because... I don't think I'd have to get the free trial. It costs money. No. Damn. Oh, students and teachers can use it free. That's what the deal is. You got it. Let me guess. You got it through your university. Only piece of software you can think of that's worth it, right? Someone hack your PC just by being connected to the internet. Depends. Technically, I'm gonna say technically yes, but there's more to it than that. I would say. Also, what's better, Unity or Unreal? That is a question for what you want to build. Yeah, as Maddie said, depends on the game. I personally prefer Unity, but that is because I write with C#. Unreal is a C++ based engine, and they're really trying to make their blueprint system the main. Unity is. Wait, Unity is 2D always. Oh, you mean if you're gonna do 2D, always use Unity? Yeah. Yeah, once again, if you're making 3D, it depends on the game. Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. Because Unity actually has 2D functionality, whereas Unreal is really not designed for 2D. But yeah, I prefer Unity because of my biases. If you learn C++, you might want to use Unreal instead. And yeah, it depends on what kind of game you're going for. If you're doing a first-person thing, which it doesn't sound like you are, horror racing game, there isn't really many horror racing games. That's true. That could be interesting. I don't know. Once again, I'm not sure which one I'd go for. You prefer Source? While Source is good for some things, I would not recommend anyone uses Source these days. If you're gonna use Source 2. I mean, it's not open source though. Oh, it's not available though. So, I mean, you can get your hands on it. Yeah. If you're gonna go for maybe if you're going for real life graphics, like real life style stuff. Firstly, I wouldn't recommend that, seeing as you're very new to game development. Achieving realistic graphics is difficult. And I would actually recommend, if you're doing a horror game, I would actually recommend leaning more towards old school graphics, because I do think there is something about old school graphics that that lends itself well to horror mob games. Yeah, but they're an entire organization with a bunch of people. They come across as like an indie thing, but I'm pretty sure I remember hearing that their modelers and animators were veterans, or they were in the industry already. So mob games is a bad example to use as like an indie studio, or a studio that like a small studio. They're not a good example of a small studio. Yeah, again. Yeah, PS1 graphics, go with Unity, go with there's lots of like PS1 shaders you can get. Some of them being free. I saw multiple free PS1 shaders to make your game like look authentic to the PS1 style. Even if it doesn't like fully look authentic the way you build it. I would recommend Unity personally. And there's so much stuff on the Unity asset store you can use for that. Yeah, that is the only thing that I will say is that leads to Unreal being a possibility, is that Unreal does already have like racing, like vehicle scripting functionality. It already has some vehicle stuff built in. I will say Unity has some old template, like scene templates that have some vehicles already programmed, and Night of the Circus in Gold Source. Yeah, that's what real life graphics, because people expect real life graphics. I don't think they do, especially not with horror. What I would say is that Twisted Metal fan game in Unreal 5, that could be really cool actually. That is a cool idea for a project. But once again, I'd want to make it tweakable so that you can make it a Twisted Metal fan game, or make it unrelated to Twisted Metal, so that you could theoretically make a version that you can sell, and then also make a tweakable version that you can give away for free as a fan game. Because you can't sell a fan game. Once again, if you're doing Mario, I would almost, depending on what kind of shaders you're looking for, I would almost suggest Unity rather than Unreal. But again, it depends on. Again, a lot of people. This is something I had to. Okay, sorry for ranting. Once again, I'm ranting like crazy. Something that I used to teach. Well, I used to work at a school where I was working with students from the school wanting to do game development, and so I would help students in this game development hub, like learn some basic programming, or if they needed help, direct them towards like game development stuff, like good game development practices and stuff, and talk them and teach them through the process of like self-learning of game development. Now, one of the things that I tried to touch on many times early on in the game development hub is that the common thing for budding game developers, for people who want to do game development but have done none before, there's like 2 or 3 common things that are immediate pitfalls for like for people who really want to get into game development. One is expecting to be able to make a game that is as good as like a AAA game or game development. Like one of the people that came into our hub, he wanted to make a Call of Duty game. I told him, you're not gonna make a Call of Duty game. You can make a first person shooter, sure, and you can make it like low poly something, but no, he wanted realistic graphics for his thing, and he kept talking about how he wanted to rip the assets out of a Call of Duty game and put it into his game, and I kept telling him that we can't allow that because once again, he stole my idea. We're part of a school hub. I cannot condone the theft of materials from another game. I kept directing him down the line of, if you want to learn this thing, because he had no knowledge, he had no experience in game development at all. So I kept trying to guide him down the path of, learn the basics first, learn how game development works, and then maybe one day you'll be able to make that Call of Duty game you really want to make. But he just couldn't get it through his head. And what I desperately wanted to say, and I never really got a chance to say it directly to the students, is that game development's hard. Game development's real hard. You gotta be really passionate about game development if you want to get into game development. If you're not ready to like work for it, you shouldn't get into game development. You should do something else. Well, low poly racing games in general. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you're like, racing games are not too bad. Like racing games, again, there are functions already built into Unity and Unreal. Well, Unity already has templates that you can use for race car stuff. Unreal literally has some like template previously made stuff for like racing and for first person shooter. Like you can make a first person controller real easy in Unreal. If you want a first person shooter in Unreal, it's like almost already built for you. When you first set up a scene, usually you start with a first person controller that literally has a gun that works. You can fire pellets, you can fire little orbs, little spheres from it. Like Unreal is built for first person shooter. So if you're doing a first person shooter in Unreal, or if you're doing a first person shooter and you're like umming and ahhing about Unreal or Unity, Unreal. Go with Unreal because it has it built in. But you're gonna need to learn C++. You're gonna need to learn their blueprint system, which is basically a node-based programming system. And while Unreal is better for has better realistic graphics options, I would still, if it's your first game, stick with low fidelity graphics, because high fidelity graphics are difficult to achieve. You don't want to make a trash looking game. There's so many games on Game Jolt, so many games on itch.io, more so Game Jolt though, I would say, that are like, they're made in Unreal. You can tell they're made in Unreal because the shaders are fucking immaculate. But then the world is made of like flat blocks, like one texture flat blocks, and the character animation, like you've got a character like, you got this horror monster that you've downloaded from the Unreal Asset Store, and it has the animation of just like a regular dude. Because you've downloaded a regular dude animation pack, and it just looks shit. It looks stupid. The graphics, the post processing and like the shader effects might be like fucking amazing, but the stuff in it is shit. It's, you see it if you ever see people doing if you follow any YouTubers who play a lot of FNAF stuff, or like play a lot of FNAF fan games, you see it a lot. You see, there's actually a recent one. I feel bad for pointing to it because it does have a lot of effort put into it. But if I go back a few days, I watch a YouTuber named Dorko, and he recently played a game. I might have to just go onto his channel. Where the hell's... Yeah, I'm gonna go onto his channel. It was actually more than a few days ago. Where the heck is it? Oh, it was actually a little longer ago than I thought. Shit. Actually, it wasn't Dorko who was playing it, was it? It was someone else. It was actually Astrospiff. But Dorko played it as well. Where the hell is it? I think it's called Chica's Party World. It was a Chica's Party World fan game. Yes.
What's going on, guys?
Okay. Let's see if we can get some clips of the pizzeria. You watch Stalker and Astrospiff. All right. I watch a lot of FNAF content. I'll just mute it. But like, so you got these. This is clearly an Unreal game. Like the flashlight looks like a good flashlight. The lighting effects are quite amazing. They've got all this like motion blur stuff going on. There's a lot of post processing going on in this, and there's a lot of like shaders and reflections and lighting and stuff like that. That's clearly Unreal Engine. But then, and the pizzeria doesn't actually, the pizzeria that this game takes place in doesn't actually look that bad. But if we can get an animatronic if we can get an animatronic chasing him, I should just download the game and play it and test it. Come on. Oh, god damn it. But you can see how, like, while the post-processing looks really good, a lot of the like stuff around him is very blocky and flat. It doesn't look natural at all. It's partly because the designers don't fully know how to make the environment look realistic. They're going for realistic graphics, but they haven't really understood the assignment. Yeah, and I was trying to show off one of the animations of the characters running, because I remember all the animatronics in this game, or some of them at least, run like they're just regular people. They've got the animation of like a regular dude character, and like it just looks silly. Wait. Oh god, I can't get him to. I don't know where he's getting chased, but there's also. If you see, there's this whole like pizzeria that's like they've gone through the effort of making a whole pizzeria and look a specific way, but then they've got the bonus levels that are these like weird Sonic levels, and they're just planes in an open space with like a square skybox. Maybe that was the intention. Maybe they wanted it to look shit. But well, yeah, I know. I mean, I've been saying the whole time it's Stalker. You can see it down there. Yeah, the environment of the like Sonic stage sections are really low quality. Maybe that was the intention of the design, but then like in the background areas behind the pizzeria as well, when you're like fighting the worm thing, When you're dealing with like the weird like blast pit worm thing. I know I'm ranting. I mentioned that earlier. See this and like this is why I don't understand this developer, because these background sections, this part of the background section looks amazing. This looks really good. But then you get to this section, the blast pit, and you're back to like borderline like dev textury blocks of like nothing, where it's clearly just some pieces stitched together, because they don't the environment doesn't feel natural or organic or real at all. What it makes me think is that this developer has downloaded an asset for the background area, that like area that's full of detail. They've got like fire hydrants and like hoses and dirt on the floor and stuff, and they've used that environment, but then they've built an environment past that is just devoid of detail, because they don't actually know how to make an environment look like that environment that they just use from an asset store. Yeah, it's Onyx. Looks like Onyx. Yeah, this whole scene here where you're jumping around different sections of like platforms, it's so unnatural. It's such an unnatural environment. If you're going for realism, you need the environments to look real. It's not just enough to have just high fidelity graphics. If the environment doesn't look real, then it's not going to look real. It's not going to look good. Yeah, and then I'll see if I can find some. Was there some in the ending sequence? Does any of these animate? No, but I remember when he was playing around in the main part of the pizzeria, these characters often just walked with like regular human walking animations, and you see it in fan games all the time, and in small projects made by a like a single developer. You'll see like a character like this that is like supposed to be a giant robot, and they just walk like a regular dude. They'll like run at you like a fucking GTA NPC, and it just looks so unnatural. Because there's a dissonance between the visual animation and the character animation, and what you would expect that character to animate like. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Sorry, I that was a huge rant, but let's just say, when it comes to new developers, right, like doing new games, like your first game. Firstly, you should learn how to make games first. Do tutorials. Do a bunch of tutorial stuff. Follow all the guides that you can find for making small projects. First, but then beyond that, aim really low. Your first game is not going to be a masterpiece. Just like the first ever thing you drew as a child isn't going to be, isn't going to be the fucking... What's a good... You're not going to be painting Starry Night or Scream as your first ever painting. You're not going to... Like, aim low. Aim low. Aim for something small as a first thing. Secondly, what was I going with? There's these the things that I I tell my students. Yeah. Game development's hard. Aim for something small. Get something functional, like get something working. Get something. Just do something. Just do like something small. Just do something. It doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be like a killer app. It doesn't have to be the best thing you can have ever imagined. It doesn't have to even be original. Just make something that you can show, that you can say like, I made this. And again, the first thing that you ever make is not going to be pretty. It's not going to be the best game in the world. But the more you do it, the better you'll get, and the more playable, fun it'll get. Those kind of games like Marble Blast are very achievable. What makes characters no clip on the ground and stuff? Do you mean like slip when they walk? It's to do with the way the animation's done versus how they're being moved. So a lot of games use like completely disconnected animation to movement system, and sometimes it's honestly hard to get it to just look natural. You have to either speed up the movement to match the feet or slow down the animation to match the movement. Or you can make it some, like in Unity and in some things you can actually make it, if you move the model of your, if the model that you're animating, if you move it in your space. God, pardon me, I keep burping for some reason. It's acid reflux is what it is. I've got acid reflux. If you move your model in your 3D modeling space, so if you're like animating in Blender and you make your Blender character move, you can make that tracked in Unity. Unity has the capability of making that become, like, basically when the walking animation stops, the new position that they've reached will become the new 0 position. Like, they'll walk along, and then normally the animation will jump them back to the start, wherever they were. But you can use a thing called root motion, and Unity will track how far they've made it from 0 point, and then you can, like, when they return to 0, the 0 point jumps to them instead. So you can literally make the movement based on the animation, and that makes it the most true to your animation in terms of movement. It makes it look the most natural. But it is the hardest to achieve because you have to be able to make the animation for movement as modular as possible. And let's just say it's way easier to just have the animation match the movement. I've always done it the other way just because it's easier. But Marble Blast, you don't even have to worry about that stuff because you're dealing with a sphere rotating. And that can be handled entirely with Unity physics or Unreal physics. But Rorius made the best game in the world. I did not. The reason why I tell people to aim small is because, like, of course, one of my first games I ever wanted to make on Unity was this sprawling, epic 2.5D platformer with combat mechanics. And I basically wanted to make, what's a good example of that kind of game? I guess like Trine. Let's see if I can... If anyone's played Trine before, I wanted to make a game that was like a bit like this. Where it's a 2.5D, so it's 2D plane of movement, but the game has like 3D elements, so you can see foreground, background. I wanted to make a single player, like where you don't have 3 players in my one. Like, I wanted to make a game that was a bit like this, where you're running around a space as as a character. You have like combat where you have like different weapons and stuff like that. And it's all like crazy platforming. But I wanted it to be like a semi-open world kind of situation where you can go back and forth between different zones, different environments. You can, like, theoretically unlock new things later on and then go back to old areas and find new paths. I wanted to make that. That was the first game I ever wanted to make with Unity. How far do you think I got with this game? Actually, I wonder if I still have it. Do I have the Unity Hub open? Do I still have that game? No, I don't. I might still have it in a folder somewhere. You made one block. No, we got further than that. I will say we got further than that. We got to the point where we had a plane of movement. We had our 2D plane of movement. We had a 3D. We had a capsule. We had the default capsule as a player character. We had movement, side to side, up and down, being able to jump. We had some platforms we built as like an example of like jumping on top of platforms, and we had an object that would kill you if you touched it, and it would load you to the. We had multiple levels. We had 2 levels. They were just basically empty, except for these platforms and this one kill box that we made. We made basically a box that was invisible, that if you touched it, it would kill you. So like you could theoretically put that at the bottom of like a pit, and that would be like a death pit. Antibiotic MC Pog. And that's about it. We were trying to do programming before I ever learned programming. So the code was super basic. But these were different scenes. We had scene 1 and scene 2. And in scene 2, I think we had some random bamboo models, because we had done modeling before. We'd already done 3D modeling, so one of my friends who was working on it with me made some bamboo models, and we put that in the scene. You just like move between them. They were in the foreground and background. And we had a blank terrain object in the background acting as like mountains, because the terrain system that Unity had at the time was all that we knew how to make like the background with. And we had the floor was just a cube stretched. The reason why people call me Banana Rorius is that in an episode in a stream where we were playing Gartic Phone at some point, for some reason someone drew me as a banana. I've frequently in the past been drawn as different things. If you go on the Discord, you'll see like a blueberry Rorius. That's like a blueberry with my face on it. And then there's like, I made thumbnails in the past where it was like my face just stuck on something. So like there's an episode of Prey where my face is just planted onto a box, because in Prey you can mimic things. You can turn into a cup or like turn into a box. And so for Kiwi Rorius, I think that's already been done. I'm pretty sure. In fact, I have it. I know it's been done. I have a picture of me as a kiwi. 1 second. In fact, Digits drew it. Oh, this is a kiwi the fruit, by the way. Curious, if you will. And yeah, I don't know when it started, but this is one of the earliest Banana Rorius ones. It's just my face, literally photoshopped onto and crudely blended into banana. It looks hairy, yeah. Well, the kiwi is hairy, you see, that's the thing. What else? Is there any other ones that I've saved here that have my face just planted on something? Someone on the channel named Chew drew me as a capybara. It's the closest thing to a persona that I have. Chew, a member of the channel from a while back, drew me as a capybara. Oh, I don't have it in this folder, but there's a picture of me as Doge. Where is it? I know I have it saved somewhere. Maybe I have it in emojis. Oh yeah, I think it was Yelan did me as the Doge Shiba. I know, we're ranting. It's all right. Banana Rice is an SCP. Yeah. And then there's ones like Pumpkius, just pumpkin with my face on it. I did this abomination back in the day. This is Bunnius. It's because I was playing a game called I don't remember what it's called. There's a game where you play as a bunny character running around dealing with stuff, and I made this abomination of a fusion of my face and a bunny's face. And then of course these ones that I made my face in the pile of goo from Carrion. That needs to be your YouTube profile pic. I merged my face and Crypto's face for a Rorius alien face. I originally tried to stretch my eyes to fit the eye socket, but the bunny Rorius needs to be YouTube profile pic. I originally tried to stretch the eye to meet this thing, but it just looked so horrifying that I was like, okay, no, I'll tone it back a bit. This is one of the earliest ones I did where I merged my face with Professor K. We were just talking about Professor K earlier from Jet Set Radio. I did Professor R. I copied his glasses and his nose ring and his hair. Put it on me. Me as a character from Jazz Punk. Me as a puppet. This is one of my more horrifying ones. If you look closely, you can even see strings coming off me. Oh, this is one of the earlier ones as well. Someone just crudely photoshopped my face over Jesus's. This is Lord Rorius. Me as a vampire. That one I specifically took this screenshot to make it into a vampire face. And then... Okay, anything else? There's me inside a lion's mouth. Oh, I took some blank pictures of me from back in the day because people wanted them to Photoshop onto, but then I gave them to people and no one used them. No one ever used them. I think that's it for this. Yeah, that's it for that. But there's more of that around. There's emojis that I didn't make that are on the Discord. Do I still have Discord open? I do. Okay. I opened up to my studio by accident. Okay, so on here there are, if we go to my section, there's Blueberry, which is the Blueberry Rorius. There's Bouncius, Mia's Bounce Gel from Portal 2. There's a scale up, like, content aware scale version of me. There's Infinirory from a stream in the past where I had, like, my face kept getting repeated infinitely. There's an Egg Rorius. There's... Yeah, the Pumpkiss. There's me as Sans. There's Sansius. There's me in my UFO. For some reason. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. I think there's even stickers, if I recall. Yeah, there's a close-up, better view of the Blue Boreas. Of Blue Bory. And I put some of my other face stuff on there. Yeah. I think so. No. Yeah, no. Lord Rorius comes from, like, 2017. It's old. Lord Rorius comes from way back. Yeah. Send me a blank. I've got an idea. I mean, I can resend it if I go... Let's go back to the Discord. I'll just go into the general discussion, which apparently there's some more stuff here. Let's ignore that for now and get that folder back open. All right. For those wanting blank faces from the stream, and then I'll attach some images. These are old me with my long hair, so wanting those blank faces from the stream. There we are. That's me when I used to have long hair. My hair is actually quite long at the moment because I haven't had it cut in a while, but I used to have This is back when I used to have hair down to my ass. My hair, you'd only see it to the shoulders, but it went all the way down to my ass. Interesting combination. It is an interesting combination. It's an interesting combination of emojis. I am not trained in any martial arts, no. But anyway, we should keep moving. We should keep moving. Enough of that. But that's why Banana Rorius exists.
Update, and we're back with a new rundown. Welcome to Season 4, Critical Corruption. Though we have gained great ground against the rampaging lithophage in the past months, it remains a constant threat on Hoxie's, despite our best efforts. And to make matters worse, reports of alarming new mutations are starting to come in.
It probably started
clearly
in,
reacting to our presence, and our endeavors are getting even more hazardous moving
somewhere
forward.
around there.
Let's get right into it. The bad news first. The play cards you have encountered previously have evolved. They will...
Well, let's just say the Banana Rorius meme, like, it kinda died, but then Fireboy, you kind of brought it back a little bit, and then I played into it with the banana stream, the 12-hour banana stream, and getting my banana plush friend. This is just banana. This isn't Banana Rorius, this is just banana. I'm Banana Rorius. Don't re-upload my videos. I will get alerted if you re-upload my video, and I can claim it if I want to. But I don't usually claim stuff that I get alerted for. But don't re-upload my videos. If you do a modification to them, if you like do a YouTube poop of it, or if you modify it in some way, then sure. But if you're just gonna re-upload my video wholesale, not cool. Maybe the true Banana Rorius was the friends we made along the way. Yeah.
Now turn into lithophage corruptors. Ravenous, fully mobile abominations that spread rock pox wherever they go. They appear impervious to normal gunfire, so you will need to use the cleansing equipment to get through their exterior shells and expose their soft inner core. Be advised, the lithophage corruptor is no pushover and will fight back to defend itself. Walk with care, miners. Furthermore, several more strains of Hoxie's wildlife have succumbed to the rockpox and gotten infected. You can now expect to meet infected Mactera bombers, as well as infected Nadocyte breeders. Just lovely. Be on your guard as always, as these new variants will be even more hostile than usual, while also propagating the spread of rockpox. As if that wasn't enough, Hoxie's itself seems to fight back in its usual way, by spewing out yet more ghastly creatures from far below. Scanners report sightings of two new monsters. The Glyphid Stingtail is a powerful, heavily armored beast. It has a grabbing tail capable of incapacitating any enemy and goring them against its massive horns. Mind yourselves around this one. Meanwhile, the Glyphid Septic Spreader is a malicious cousin of our old friend, the Glyphid Spitter. This one fires heavy globules of rancid biomatter, which spread out in a wide area around impact. Just another day on Hoxie's, I suppose. But as always, our enemies are not the only ones to adapt. R&D has come up with a little something we expect you'll enjoy. Jet boots. You will now be able to recover crates of high-powered jet modules in the caves. Attach these to your boots and turn them into fully functional jet boots, giving you a much-needed leg up during any hardships you may encounter. Just, consider wearing a helmet, perhaps. Back home, a bit of redundant machinery has been cleared out, opening up the space rig a bit more, which handily allows plenty of space to install a training terminal and coded locks you will encounter on the jet boot crates.
As it says.
It would appear some smart aleck has seen fit to build an arcade cabinet to fit it into. At the Abyss Bar, enjoy a delicious new brew, the Randovisor. This potent ale reportedly instills a sense of adventure and lust for challenge in whoever drinks it, causing questionable decisions in regards to equipment loadout and uniform. Apparently, finishing missions using these loadouts has become a bit of a fad. Well, I wish you luck. At the loadout terminal, a new option to randomize all your...
So that brew, it randomizes your loadout, and then you can like give the new random loadout a try. That's interesting.
Gear and upgrades has also become available, enabling you to quickly set up challenges for yourself. Why would anyone do this? Well, never let it be said we do not wish to enable our employees. Meanwhile, in your wardrobe, your armors now come with a new option. Toggle between sleeveless versions of all your own sets at will. Summer is almost upon us, after all.
Unlucky, yeah.
And capping all of this off is, of course, this season's new season pass. An all-new cosmetic tree and 100 new levels of gear, victory moves, weapon frameworks, and crafting materials to unlock, with all the usual script challenges to go along with it. And as always, anything you may have missed in previous seasons will simply go into the existing loot pools, so nothing is going away forever.
I like that. I really appreciate that.
To commemorate the release of the season is of course also a new cosmetic pack up for purchase. The Decontaminator pack features a brand new weapon framework to go with our previous DLC pack of armors. Combating a lethal pandemic has never looked sexier. That is it, miners. Season 4 is upon us. Suit up and get to work. We've got quotas to meet. Welcome to Critical Corruption. This is Mission Control, signing off. Rock and Stone.
Very cool.
DRG is always finding ways to drain our wallets.
I think the fact that you have to play Jetty Boot to get the jetpack boots, it's really funny. But yes, Fireboy, you basically, the Banana Rorius thing had basically died, but then you kept mentioning the meme like endlessly for ages, and then eventually other people started bringing it back. Other people started talking about it as well, and then I did play into it with like my banana jam thing and my banana stream, the 12-hour stream. That's bonanza, banana bonanza, yeah. And I got the banana plushie, so yeah. So I played into it. Anyway, boss announcing mass layoffs over Zoom. Oh no. I'm assuming this is a skit.
Unfortunately, our company has been hit extremely hard by budget cuts, and we are going to have to be laying off about 40% of the staff today. And if you're on this call, I'm sorry, am I auto-tuned? Are you guys hearing that? I am so sorry about this. My stepson was playing with some DJ software on my computer earlier. Casey, why don't you get in here, buddy? If only Mark from IT could live in my house. Sorry, Mark, you are also laid off. Casey! I sure wish I could lay off my stepson instead. Or just kill him. We'll be deactivating your email shortly. It is fun to play with you. Casey, come in here now! I think we should just all be grateful that we have our health. With a few exceptions. Rest in peace. Sorry, everyone, that we had to you guys know I was here. Damn.
Oh my fucking god.
I'm telling Mom! You're done! You're fucking done!
Oh my god. That's wild. The like child abuse right on fucking Zoom. I'm telling Mom. That's wild. Impressive palate. Oh, right. Is he gonna be able to tell all the drinks?
Good morning, Hick. It's Tuesday. If there's one thing I've learned from 104-year-old Elizabeth Sullivan, it's that if you want to have a long and happy
3
life,
Dr.
drink
Peppers a day.
Dr. Pepper.
This stuff is good. It's got sugar in it, and two doctors have told me that if I drink it, I will die, but they died first.
So today I'm going to be blind test tasting Dr. Pepper, Diet Dr. Pepper, and 3 meaningless knockoffs. Hold on, actually, you know what? I have to go vote. And I have voted, and implore you to do the same. All right, let's taste a real one and some fake ones. Ugh. You know what it tastes like? It tastes kind of like if Dr. Pepper were John Coltrane's A Love Supreme. This would be, I can also blow into a saxophone. All right, on to number 2. Oh. That is Diet Dr. Pepper. It's not sweet. I guess there's like a tiny chance it's the Whole Foods Diet Dr. Pepper, like the Zevia Dr. Pepper, but I'm almost positive that's Diet Dr. Pepper. So I'm going to try the third one now. Oh boy. Holy crap, that's bad. Wow, that makes the first one taste like a Love Supreme. Wow. Jesus Christ. That's worse than water. It tastes way too cherry. The thing you have to understand about Dr. Pepper is that Dr. Pepper was invented by Charles Alderton, who was a chemist. And this is essential to understanding what makes Dr. Pepper interesting. It was the product of a chemist, and the chemist wasn't trying to make a soda that tasted like lemon lime or like citrus. He was trying to make a soda that tasted like the soda fountain at the Waco pharmacy smelled. He wanted it in its essence to be artificial. This tastes like it is going for a taste, which is all wrong. Like, you don't want to go for cherry or go for cola or go for sassafras roots and have a root beer. You want to go for the way the human heart wants a soda to taste. By the way, if that's Dr. Pepper, I retire. I retire from public life. I walk away. I do something else with the rest of my life. Let's go to number 4. Oh, I feel even more confident now. It's so bad. Jesus Christ. I guess it could be Mr. Pibb. Then go back to taste number 1. No. I'm like 80-90% sure that's Dr. Pepper. The complexity. It reminds me of Whitman's Leaves of Grass. Do I contradict myself?
We don't really
well?
get
Then
Dr.
I
Pepper much
contradict
here.
myself. I contain multitudes.
Dr. Pepper
That
does exist in New Zealand, but we just don't
multitudes.
have a lot of it.
Hold on, I want to compare what I think.
So this is
Diet Dr.
fascinating to
Pepper,
me.
Make sure that I'm right. Oh yeah, I mean that's got to be it, right? Those are like the same chord played at a different octave. You know, part of what makes
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper
Interesting
so
way to put it.
magical, like for a long time, their catchphrase was, "It tastes more like regular Dr. Pepper," which it really does. Because, like, if I'm right, hold on, let me. You know what? Before I start talking a big game, I should taste the 5th one. It's not bad. I just feel like I've been so confident and somewhat cavalier, and now I'm starting to second guess myself. Like I think that is Diet Dr. Pepper. That is very sugary, and it has some layers, but it's not Dr. Pepper, I don't think. It has a similar problem to the first one, which is that there's plenty of sugar, there's plenty of sweetness, but there isn't that multitudinousness. Now I'm getting nervous. I know what Diet Dr. Pepper and Dr. Pepper tastes like. Okay, John, one more time. That is Diet Dr. Pepper. Please, God, be Diet Dr. Pepper. I'm going to be in so much trouble if you're not. Yes! Yes! Okay, then this is 100% Dr. Pepper. Yes! Oh, thank goodness. The remaining 3, it doesn't actually matter to me that much because they're not Dr. Pepper. That's the important thing. I'm going to guess that the really, really bad one is the Whole Foods Dr. Pepper. It almost tastes like cough syrup, to be honest with you. Yes! So I think this is the Kroger one, Dr. K, because it's better. And in my experience anyway, store brand knockoffs are actually better than like Coke or Pepsi knockoffs. Dr. K? Oh! Mr. Pibb! They call it spicy cherry soda. Well, I'll tell you one thing that it's not.
It's not Dr. Pepper.
Spicy. Now I know what you're
spicy.
wondering. John, how are you going to turn this into a sock commercial? Don't you worry your pretty little face. So Dr. Zevia is like ugly socks that get holes quickly, but also...
Okay, I'm assuming this is a brand thing. That is impressive. He got fucking 4 out of 5. Well, 3 out of 4. 3 out of 5. We got one like mixed up the other way around. Damn. You almost at the top of the list. I'm heating up my food. Probably not. Oh, we are on the stuff that was posted yesterday. So we're a wee way away. But we're right there. Now, Mecha, does this have a timestamp? This stock company is good though. Ah. All the profits go to charity. Oh, freaking awesome. Well, yeah, go fucking support. Am I not subscribed? I thought I was subscribed. Oh, wait, okay. Wait, just go back onto YouTube. Because I freaking love the Green brothers. Yeah. Hank and John are both freaking awesome. Awesome people. Remember to yes, yeah. You think I'd forget to refresh? You think I'd actually forget? So what is this like? Okay, it's only 5 minutes. But
Stand by for your team to assemble.
Canny Valley Storm King. I'll give you a cheeky like.
Stay sharp. Anything can happen over there. Stand by to transport over to the other
So this is Fortnite, but this is the actual game Fortnite, not the multiplayer. Which well, not the yeah, not the what's it calls it? The Battle Royale. Is this? I'm assuming this is like a final boss or something. Remember to left click. You think I'd actually forget? Oh my god. So yeah. I'm gonna skip ahead a bit. Also, what is with the... My internet has been poopy.
You've got it. He's down. Use melee weapons on those hordes.
So you have to build up to his... Ah. Interesting.
You weakened him. Nice job.
As if I was struggling to aim, yeah.
He's waking up.
Halagala get dollar. Counter-Strike kid. Not familiar, no. It's not. It wasn't because I was using. It's not because of my internet. My internet's great, actually. I'll have you know. It's actually so much better than it used to be. But no, it was because I was jumping around. I like jumped around in the timeline a bunch. YouTube likes to lower the settings if you keep jumping. Also, I don't know what bitrate Sapphire uses or Mecha uses to record, but could probably do with upping the bitrate a little bit, because this is the full resolution. Holla get dollar. I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar. Eating chicken nuggets? Nice. I had fancy chicken nuggets the other day. I say the other day. Yesterday. We had these boxes, these like freezer boxes of, I say fancy. That's why they're fancy for chicken nuggets. One of them was karaage chicken, and one of them was Korean style fried chicken. But they're essentially chicken nuggets because they're freezer chicken nuggets.
He's down. Now, hit him with your pickaxe.
Chicken heads. Ugh. So yeah.
Hit him with everything you got. Unleash the firepower.
Oh damn, the damage is crazy. He had like a whole health bar, and single shots like took off like 2/3 of his health. Nice. Master of Puppets. It's... Nice. Updated with upgrades. Right, yeah. Neat. I will say, briefly, for a while when they first were announcing Fortnite, before it ever became a battle royale, I did think the game looked interesting, but I don't know if I can bring myself to play it these days. Anyway, this is Philomena Kunk, who is hilarious. By the way, if you have not seen this actress, oh my god, she is hilarious.
Economists think that they can build...
Oh. I probably can't actually show this because it's BBC. I'm probably going to get claimed through the freaking wazoo for this. I know that the guy who uploaded it isn't BBC, but they probably have claims through up the wazoo for all the Philomena stuff. Let's just say I won't watch it, but go watch it. I might even save this for later for myself because Philomena Kunk is so funny. Ah, it was taking place in a Counter-Strike match 10 years ago. I thought it said 10 years ago, but just years ago. Right, yeah, no, I don't remember. It doesn't sound familiar to me. Better safe than sorry, exactly. But yeah, go check it out. It is hilarious. Anyway, Sporkle, a world of quiz. Oh, yes. I think Curtis, was it? Posted this? Yeah. I'll have a look at that in my own time. I'm assuming, yeah, it's a bunch of quiz stuff that you can, continue without supporting you. Yeah, there's a bunch of quiz stuff that could be an interesting thing for potential streams or videos, possibly in the future. I shall check that out. All right. On that April Fool's stream, I think you got claimed by BBC. Yes, I've been claimed by BBC multiple times throughout the years. The very first time I ever got claimed, I think, for a stream was when I on one of my streams, the world's smallest cat video was submitted. I didn't even know it was BBC at the time. I don't even think it had the watermark on it. But it's like a little documentary thing about this wild cat that's tiny. They always stay kitten-sized. But they're like wild hunters. They're not domesticated cats, which is fascinating. But yeah, immediately claimed by BBC. And that was the start of many a claim by the BBC. Secret manhole. What is this?
Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. So I found this secondhand manhole ring and cover.
Oh.
So these
I didn't actually read the title of the
are going to
video.
go in the floor of
That's
the bar.
awesome. I'm just going to skip ahead.
Again, we've got adit number 1, the original tunnel entrance, number 2, the hall tunnel, and now our new adit number 3 down there. And it looks like since I've been out here last, the new tunnel looks like a tunnel. It actually goes back about 10 feet right now. And then we've got a nice pile of sand there. And we're still aiming to connect up to our other tunnels inside the hill. Let's go see how our project's doing. All right,
Yeah.
I have it kind of cordoned off so nobody walks in there. And there's
Very
our floor.
cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
that seems pretty solid.
So yeah, they're gonna make a
All
connection
right,
to
well, that
this.
looks like a floor manhole to me. Now, today's goal, since this currently doesn't go anywhere, it's just floor underneath here. And then once we get down deep enough, we'll start a tunnel off to who knows where. Might not get to the tunnel part today. Might not even get the shaft all the way
I
down
wish
today,
I had 1 million subs.
We'll see how far we can go.
But I do not.
Another quick project for today is to put up some LED lights. So I'm going to put this light strip along the ceiling.
Fallout
that way we don't have
shelter.
to rely on these little rechargeable hand lights.
Again, let's skip ahead. If you want to watch the full video, it's linked. It's
finally gotten through that
save it for the
blasted hard
parts.
layer.
It's linked on the
It's
Reddit.
still not as deep as I wanted. I think we're going to wrap up for the day. We've been here all day.
But this is a really cool project.
I can't quite stand up in it, but I can crouch down in here and basically disappear. And now that we have a manhole in the bar, we can do all kinds of weird cinematic stuff like this.
That's cool.
All right, so now that there's sand in absolutely every crevice of my camera, we are totally ready to film an unauthorized Chud sequel. How deep did I actually get this thing over 2 days? Is it deep enough to need a ladder yet? Almost. So the video title says this is a secret manhole, but it's pretty obvious that there's a manhole here. How is it a secret? Well, if we just kick some sand over it.
Immediately, it's gone. That's cool.
Secret manhole. Okay, so I think our sandbar floor manhole is pretty successful. It's not quite as deep as I wanted to get it, but that's about as deep as I can go without destroying any more chisels, and I can actually get in there and close the lid on myself. So I'm going to call that a success for now. Eventually, we're going to get that deeper. We're going to start branching that off.
That's very cool. I would be terrified because I have minor claustrophobia. This robot, Morph Hex, Portal Turret voice. This robot is very cool. I've seen it before. Very cool though. I would never be late. It's only a couple hours. This robot, I've seen it before, but it's super cool. Little spider robot.
Are you still there? Can I help you? Self-test error. Resting. Good night. Coming through.
That's super cool. I love the rolling.
Something's wrong.
That'd be perfect for a disappearing illusion. The manhole cover thing. Yeah, definitely.
I'm scared.
It's great if you want to hide from someone who's come into your tunnel unexpected. You can hide from them in your little manhole cover. Only thing is you can't dust the surface over. You need to have whatever is on top of the manhole. You need to have it like permanently set so that when you close a manhole, it always looks like it's just disappeared. Yeah, this robot is so cute, and the fact that he can like move his legs in such a way that you can like speed up the ball as it's rolling is super cool.
Hello? There you are.
Firing.
What are you doing? Please stop. You've made your point. Hey, it's me. Hello?
Kind of scary to the child. Yeah. I'm different.
Will you come over here? I never liked her.
Oh, dear. It is a bit like the roller mine. Yeah. Very cool. Keep it away from the children. This is a scary robot. No, that's super cool. The some of the functionality of this particular ball bull robot is super cool. And yeah, you could totally, if you like made this more rapid and more like, gave a little bit more processing power to do more things a bit more rapidly and a few more sensors for different things, you could make an awesome like roller mine basically. Where instead of like zapping you, once it reaches your position, it just like pops out and becomes a little spider robot. That'd be really cool. I'd want to put like little camera sensors on the outer, like I want to have it in the little plastic legs so that it has like view in all directions. So like on each of these panels, either one or two cameras, a camera either in the center or one like up here and one down here for each of the panels. So it has a bunch of different viewpoints and it can like interpolate the world around it. Interpret the world. Right, yes. This oh no, video is no longer available. This I saw this earlier. This is wild. Unfortunately the video is no longer available, but oh, apparently the post is no longer available as well. I'll refresh now. Okay. It's a little more than I expected. But yeah, okay. So, now, dramatic fart sound effect. I love the build up. Okay, what is this? The slowest computer I own.
I'd like to show you the slowest computer I own. But I don't mean slow like an original 1981 IBM PC. And I don't mean slow like a 1982 ZX Spectrum. I don't even mean slow like the 1999 NetAppliance eye-opener. I mean slow like the 2007 Sony Vaio TXN25. Now, what makes this the slowest computer I own?
Yeah.
Does it have some awful Transmeta CPU, like Sony put in their wacky camera laptop 6 years earlier? No, it's a Core Solo, the same thing Apple shipped in the first Mac Mini. But it came with Windows Vista, so that's the problem, right? Well, no, I have machines that run Vista just fine, even on Atom CPUs, as long as they have enough RAM. So this one's RAM-starved, right? No, it has 1.5 gigs. By all rights, this laptop should be perfectly cromulent, but let's just see how long it takes to boot.
I will say, my computer is pretty fucking slow at booting. But that's because of a bunch of things that I won't go into that I have on my computer.
In case you weren't watching the clock, from power on to a program opening took nearly 2 minutes. That's the slowest boot time of any computer I've ever owned, no matter how old, no matter what hardware or operating system, and it's not even done. If we give it another 2 minutes...
My computer didn't fart.
All this crap appears. And then something crashes, and now it's booted. It took over 4 minutes for this system to totally settle and be ready to use, and obviously that's absurd, but tragically, this was normal when this machine was new.
Back in 2007, the computer industry had a problem.
or more accurately, they had 2 of them. But only one was somebody else's fault, and both had the same effect, and that was computers booted really, really slowly.
Do you see his shirt? Why? Why does his shirt say that? Why does he have an Amogus shirt?
Now, the problem that the vendors didn't cause was that Microsoft had released Windows Vista, and that had upheaven the PC platform. Their previous offering, Windows XP, was truly ancient by 2007. It had come out 6 years earlier, and even then it was pretty similar to Windows 2000, just with a new coat of paint. So basically, the most common operating system at the end of 2006 was one that had been designed to work, at least in a pinch, on a computer from the late 90s. A Pentium 3 500 MHz would run XP, and not all that poorly, to be honest. Plus, it would do it in just 128 megs of RAM. Vista was not so happy under those constraints. I've heard a lot of theories about why many people didn't like Vista.
4 minutes to like
a lot of them are nonsense, but one undeniable fact is that it demanded more RAM. Now, most nerds probably weren't running machines with only 128 megs in 2007, but it was feasible. And if you were that person, then upgrading to Vista required 8 times more RAM. Now, a gig didn't cost all that much, but the point is, it was a big jump. And honestly, you really wanted 2 gigs, which was still a lot of memory at that time. So many people who upgraded from XP didn't add as much RAM as they needed, and system builders were reluctant to bump up their prices to offer more than the bare minimum. Acer, in particular, was actually shipping some Vista machines with the bare Microsoft-mandated minimum of 512 megs, which I can tell you would not have been usable. Vista was also just bigger than XP, and it was more complicated. There were a lot more little tiny files it had to load, and hard drives weren't very fast back then. SSDs weren't really a thing for most people yet, so almost everyone had spinning disks, and not even top-of-the-line models. 7200 RPM drives existed, but 5400s were still pretty common, and laptops could be as slow as 4200. On top of that, spinning disks have seek times. That's the time it takes for the disk to rotate around to a sector you need and for the head to swing over to the right track to read it. Now, almost nobody's had to deal with those for years at this point, but back then it was universal, and it meant that loading lots of little files, as required to boot your operating system, was a very inefficient process. Finally, while desktop CPUs were starting to get pretty good, even by modern standards, laptops were still struggling with single-core 32-bit chips, and even worse, really compact machines often had ultra-low voltage CPUs with effectively last-generation performance. So Vista could be made to run well on not unreasonable hardware, but all these factors added up to a lot of machines being very sluggish, especially on initial boot. And even worse, if you bought a pre-built machine, the vendors did their best to make the situation worse. Every nerd has known forever, you do not use a computer with the software that it's shipped with. We see it like eating a banana with the peel on. The OS that comes on a PC, not that any of us ever buy pre-builts unless they're laptops, is basically shipping foam. It's there.
I was about to say, would a nerd like us buy a pre-built computer? I mean, I guess it's a laptop. I did buy a laptop, but like once I built my first PC, there's no going back after that. You just build and upgrade computers from then on. You don't use pre-built.
To keep the empty bits from rattling around on the hard drive, right? Or to prove the machine works or something. You don't use it. The first thing you do is wipe and reload with a clean OS. And we've always been right, and always for the same reason. System builders are not content with profit based on labor, markup, marketing expenses, and other normal operating costs. Like most businesses under modern capitalism, they want to make more money than they deserve for the work they've actually done. So, since time immemorial, like 1995, they've turned to other means of maximizing profits with no extra effort, namely the selling of ads. It's actually very funny that Microsoft waited until the last couple of years to start putting outright banner ads in Windows because the rest of the industry has seen it as a billboard for decades. I mean, hell, Microsoft did it first. The initial release of Windows 95 shipped with an MSN ad right on the desktop. So it didn't take any time at all for PC vendors to up the ante. And here's the thing about selling ads on a computer. There's no limit. Consider this. If you open any given magazine, a third of its content might be full-page ads, and the rest of the pages are often partially ads, but that might add up to only 40% of the content. On a PC, you can ship more ads than usable software. It's free real estate. You can just keep labeling them on. And the natural endpoint is what you saw at the beginning of this video.
Yeah, I wondered if that was the case.
This poor Sony laptop is crammed with garbage.
Yeah.
There's obviously the...
There was a huge concern back in that time, well, around that time and earlier, with what they call bloatware, or just sometimes just bloat, where pre-built systems would come loaded with a ton of random shit that would just, that's like, there's all these help softwares, and yeah, like a free antivirus, but like it's because it's a trial version, and so as soon as the trial's up, it starts asking you to pay for it. So it's automatically you're having ads and shit in your face for purchasing and advertising.
Software firewall from Norton that probably didn't do anything, and a Microsoft Office 60-day trial, both par for the course. But it also has special offers, and Napster, and Ask.com, and 22 other ads for Rock and Roll Jeopardy, for DaVinci Code the Game, for QuickBooks, MOBA TV, the Adobe Store, and it has Corel Paint Shop Pro, Corel Snapfire, whatever that is, WeatherBug, X1 Desktop Search, and I can't decide which of these is weirder. Microsoft SQL Server on a consumer laptop? Like, what? Or Microsoft Works, which was apparently still being sold in 2007, despite clearly having last been updated in 1995. Like, what's going on here? And of course, a lot of this stuff is broken, straight from a factory restore, and thus working as it should have been when it was first unboxed. The Sprint sidebar widget displayed nothing but JavaScript undefined strings.
No, it doesn't end. Undefined.
Yes, this thing actually includes a custom Vista sidebar widget, which I've never seen before. And it's part of, what else? Another ad. Some obnoxious Sprint wireless service tie-in that, for whatever reason, Sony felt deserved to be integrated into another broken piece of software. A massively overwrought wireless switching app called SmartY that takes 2 minutes to start, and then some internal component called third-party app manager immediately crashes.
Yeah.
Let me just reiterate, this is a factory load. I used the recovery partition that Sony shipped on the machine, so as far as I know, this is how it worked when it was first unboxed.
Yeah.
I should also point out that the recovery took 3 hours, which I can prove because I streamed it in its entirety. No, it's just going to be like me going like, wait, it's still installing? Wait, it's still installing? Wait, it's only 30%? With the clock at the bottom.
Okay, VIO recovery tools. Yeah, baby. I'm proud of myself, actually. I have computed this hard before. Okay, so VIO recovery has to finish, so let's push that aside. Let's bring back the stinky. I got a program compatibility assistant thing saying a program didn't install correctly, but it's on the VIO recovery partition. Yeah, the VIO is still doing it. I thought this was going to be super quick, or I thought I'd never even get the machine to do anything. I was just going to show you the stupid quick media mode and then continue. But it's really funny that it has gone this entire stream, pretty much, just churning away for no good reason. The VIO has another program that it thinks may not have installed correctly. So yeah, when the recovery process completes, this thing is too stupid to detect that on its own, so it tells you to do it. Maybe this thing will speed up after sysprep is done. I don't know. Like, this sucks. This is horrible. I'm going to push this back there. Let's do something we actually enjoy. Apparently, all that shit up until now, even though it got to a desktop twice, was not actually the OOB. And only now, theoretically, are we using the computer. Oh my god! Really? Really? They embedded a goddamn product offer into the Windows setup process. It is now doing yet another phase of the OOB. This
oh my god.
Absolutely the slowest refresh process I've ever seen in my life.
And you say, how is that possible? I've run Windows recoveries before. It takes like half an hour, 40 minutes at the outside. And yeah, that is how long it took for the disk to be imaged. But then it spent 2.5 hours pre-installing all these programs. Somehow. I don't really understand how any of the bullshit that Sony heaped onto this pitiful little computer made it as slow as it is. I mean, surely all that crap isn't actually running at all times, right?
Yeah.
The task manager doesn't...
The solution isn't to just get rid of this laptop. It's to just do a fresh install. I was gonna say, rather than installing, because what he's doing is a lot of laptops and a lot of devices that come as like a package. They have a partition of the hard drive which acts as like an installation boot device, initial boot, or initial what the hell fuck do you call it? It basically acts as the installer for the operating system. So that use the partition, and the partition handles the full install of the device as it would be sold to the customer. And so you can restore the original, like, store-bought version of the laptop if you want to. And so I believe that's what he was doing. He was installing the version of the laptop that you would have got if you bought it from the store. And that included the operating system, but it also included a million fucking pieces of bloatware that came with the laptop. What you can instead do is install just a new copy of Windows on it. Don't use the store. Don't use the store install. Use just a fresh, clean install of Windows. It could even be Windows Vista. And I guarantee that if you do that, the laptop will be almost brand new. Like, it'll be almost as if it was a brand new laptop with much better speeds. This laptop is savable. You can save it. Save it from the bloat.
Look all that wild, but somehow it takes literally 5 or 6 seconds for anything to happen on this system, even after it's fully booted and settled. So Sony ruined this little computer. And that was typical for machines of this era. VAIOs were maybe the worst, but every company did it. And so, they were all panicking. They were selling under-spec'd hardware, then loading it down with garbage, and since they sure as hell weren't going to fix either of those problems, they needed some way to make users feel like their computers weren't a waste of money. Now, the biggest pain point in their eyes was probably boot times, and probably mostly for laptops. Desktop PCs you can just leave running, so if you're upset at how long your PC takes to boot, just boot it once in the morning and leave.
That's what I do. I'm kind of terrible, and then I often leave my computer running overnight because I just can't be bothered booting it up in the morning. Especially if I'm streaming in the morning, I will just leave my computer on, set up for the stream, so I have to do as little preparation for the stream in the morning as possible. Because, I mean, there's always preparation I have to do in the morning, like with the camera, getting the lighting right, making sure the sound is working, and even then I often forget the sound. Yeah, I frequently leave my computer just on overnight because, yeah, my computer does take a long time to boot. It's not 4 minutes, but it is like the better part of a minute to boot, and it's because there was some weird issue I came across with the RAM that I installed in the computer. Initially, the computer would not recognize all my RAM for some reason, and so I had to like go into the BIOS and modify something to get the RAM to load properly. And after doing that, I have weirdness. My motherboard reacts weirdly every time I boot it up for as a fresh boot. Well, it depends on what you're talking about. When you say boot up, 6 seconds, are you able to start in like running programs in 6 seconds? It's 6 seconds to the login screen, right? Because usually there's like animations and shit you have to go through anyway. And it also depends on whether you're restoring it from. I'm talking about when you've like done a reset, because Windows 10's tricky because if you don't do a reset, if you just turn your computer off, when you turn it back on, you're not actually doing a full boot. Windows 10 has like a fast boot system, which speeds up a boot, because essentially it doesn't actually turn off the computer when you shut it down. What it does is it stores a ton of shit into memory, and then when you start your computer back up, it just pulls that shit out of memory again and keeps it running. And so that's why it's important to, when you're talking about a boot time, like full boot time, you're actually talking about reset to the login screen. Yeah, you're talking about like a reset. So when I reset my computer, if I do a reset, when it's fully turns off from the point it fully turns off and starts turning back on again through to the point where it's able to be used, that's what I would consider boot time. And because of the weirdness with the RAM that my computer has, when you first boot it, it doesn't like it. It's like, it's unhappy. So it does this little like sequence of booting thing that my computer, I don't know why it does it, and I don't know how to fix it, but it works, so I don't care. It takes it, like, it starts booting up and then stops. Starts booting up and then stops. Then it starts booting up and it goes. And then that takes, from then, like, once it's actually running properly, it takes the better part of 30 seconds to actually get to the login screen, I think. To be fair, I might be exaggerating, because I had a computer that booted up real fast, and now this computer is slow compared to it. But, wait, I'm gonna just quickly check something. If I recall, isn't there a thing? I feel like there's a... wait a second. How long did my PC take to boot? Oh, the average Windows PC boot time is 1 minute. Most Windows PCs boot within 30 seconds. Yeah. But isn't there a last time? Isn't there just a window you can open? I swear there's like a system thing you can open that just tells you how fast it took to boot last time. 1 second. In Task Manager, you think? Oh, okay. Task Manager. Startup? Was it in Startup, maybe? Okay, yeah, see, the last time yeah, under Startup apps, yeah. Says last BIOS time, 61 seconds. So yeah, it's slow. It's, as I thought, it's slow. Because I remember my old PC, before I had this problem with the RAM, before I had the RAM problem, like a full boot from restart, it would take maybe 12 seconds. Yeah, 2 seconds. Yeah. But this computer is full of stuff. Like, firstly, there's a ton of stuff I have on like other hard drives that is slowing down the boot. So like, not everything that happens at boot is on the SSD. So that slows it down. But the big thing is the weird RAM issue I have. I didn't know how else to fix it, so it just slows the boot up time by a lot. Yeah, 10 seconds, yeah. And that's about what it used to be like before I had the current setup. I'm sad I watched a YouTuber who reviewed the Game Boy camera, but now I can't find him. Oh. There might be that, yeah. It might be difficult to find something if you don't have like the names and stuff to search. You don't have the search engine the optimal search engine word terms. Steam can also impact your BIOS time. Yep. Yeah. No, my Steam doesn't boot up automatically, but I have software that boots up automatically that's on internal hard drives, but they're HDDs rather than SSDs. Which does affect boot time. Oh, okay. BIOS time is before programs get initialized anyway, I think. I'm pretty sure doesn't certain software don't they, like, if you have it set in a certain way, it does affect the BIOS time, doesn't it? I could have sworn there is something else that affects BIOS time in terms of software. Yeah, I honestly don't know. I'm not certain. All I know is that I used to have a much better setup for that. But the thing is that, again, I don't know if I remove that fix and go back down to a small amount of RAM, my computer will load like way, way faster in like 15 to 20 seconds at most. But when I set up that fix for my RAM, it slowed the boots like crazy. Because I think it basically turned off any kind of speed up processes to get the computer to speed up boot time. But that's for whatever reason, that's what I needed to get it to recognize my RAM. So that's just the way it is. And I don't turn my computer off, so, like, or I don't restart it very often. So, so is my internet. Yeah, my internet's nice and fast, thankfully. I have full fiber, no cap. No. I was meaning cap as in capacity. No capacity cap. No limit. I wasn't using modern slang, I swear. I said it and then I laughed to myself. Because that's fucking... Oh, gee, no cap. Mark's staring me down. Daggers. Probably would have helped if I didn't delete my search history for 4 months ago. Right, yes. Thorn fiber. Anyway.
On. Laptops, however, are portable devices that need to be turned on and off and on and off all the time.
Well, they have hibernate systems.
Now, there's sleep mode, of course.
Sleep and hibernate.
In the mid-2000s, sleep was not yet super reliable on the PC platform, so vendors couldn't bank on it. They had to assume that while you were out and about, you were turning your system on, doing a few things, and then shutting it all the way down. If you had to wait 2 to 4 minutes every single time, you might get pretty frustrated. So I think that boot times really were the biggest concern. Even as slow as this little Sony is, it's sort of moderately usable once it's started and the program's actually open. It was the booting that was really painful because you were doing absolutely nothing the whole time, just waiting. And plus, for that whole 4 minutes, it was pointlessly chewing up battery power. And that's another element to consider. I can't prove this, but I suspect that Vista ate battery faster than XP. It just had more processes running, like superfetch and disk indexing, that if they were present in XP at all, were at least less aggressive. And I can't find hard numbers to back this up, but I did find in a Nantech review stating that a MacBook Pro had almost half as much battery life when running Vista. And it's not just a matter of the OS not being optimized for the hardware or something, because a Lenovo with comparable specs had about the same runtime. So Vista seems at least more power hungry than Mac OS X. It's probably not insignificant that OS X is a Unix derivative, but we'll talk about that later. So, what did system vendors do to deal with the extreme slowness of early Vista PCs? Well, mostly nothing. Computing just sucked for a few years, but there were some that attempted to offer a solution. As a system builder, you can't fix Windows, and you can't improve the hardware. you can't really do anything. PC builders don't really make
Fiberthorn.
anything functional. They just glue other people's stuff together. So they
Byzantine
had to
Empire
find
to
something
collapse.
they could
Sea of
glue
Thorn.
to a PC to make it somehow faster, and this Vio shipped with one of those things. Right now, this machine is powered off completely. It's not on standby or hibernate or anything like that. And I want to point out that along the bottom of the screen, there's this row of media playback controls, play, stop, back, next, etc., like you'd see on a lot of laptops in this era, keyboards, etc. But to the left of those is this button that says AV mode. And if I press that, the machine powers on. Now let's count it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and there we go. Just like that, we're sitting at some kind of interface. And whatever it is, we got to it in 12 seconds instead of 150. So this is a massive improvement over Vista's boot time. But what exactly have we booted? Well, if it looks like the interface for a DVD player, that's because it is.
Yeah.
Sony often called this instant mode in their documentation, but the button is just labeled AV mode because that's literally all it does. It's for playing audio and video.
Yeah.
See, if I select the first option here, we get a disc player interface. This laptop, I should mention, is one of the smallest that I've ever seen that actually has a built-in optical drive. So we'll just get ourselves a DVD here. Oh, that is really flimsy. I hate pushing on that. That sucks. Anyway.
I hate trays.
All right, it recognizes it as a DVD, and now it's playing, just like any DVD player. It's got the little screen on here to just tell you what options are available. I think you hide that with F1, but it works just like any other DVD player. There's no point even giving a tour. It is exactly the same as every DVD player ever made. There's literally nothing to discuss. And if I put an audio CD in here, it would play that too, except then I'd get content ID'd. And I will explain why this looks exactly like any other DVD player ever made in a few minutes, but let's keep moving. If we hit the AV mode button, we go back to the menu here, and the only options besides power off and start Windows are a photo viewer. And if you want to know what that does, buddy, you're in for a big surprise. It's an image viewer, and it can only display images from memory stick or SD card. It can't read USB, it can't read the hard drive, and all it can do is display photos. You come in here, you pick one. It takes an incredibly long time to load it, and then you can do a slideshow, you can step forward, and you can step back. And that's all it can do. It won't play videos, it won't play MP3s, it won't do anything else. Now, to be just the tiniest bit charitable, in 2007, this was pretty cool functionality. Streaming was almost non-existent at the time, and DVDs were the primary way that people watched movies. The original battery life of this machine, according to review, was about 4.5 hours. So you could take this tiny device camping, it's only a little bit bigger than a DVD, and you could watch 2.5 movies on this without needing shore power or internet. And that was something people did back then, and that was pretty cool. But if you're about to spend several hours watching movies, why do you care if it takes 2 minutes to boot? You can cook s'mores or something while you wait. The machine also came with a DVD player app that runs in Windows, and according to reviews, it even got slightly better battery life. So, our questions are as follows. What the hell is this? How does it work? And who is it for? And the answers are typical, boring, and nobody. But this just sets the stage for the theme of this video, or series of videos, actually. I am calling this a new show, because what began as me asking similar questions about a machine I owned over a decade ago led to a deep rabbit hole, which I know I haven't fully explored yet, with many branching paths that loop back on themselves. It turns out there was an entire cottage industry built around this slow boot problem, which almost nobody noticed existed, and it lasted a lot longer than you'd expect. By some measures, it ran into the mid-2010s. At least a half dozen companies produced instant-on solutions that tried to solve the problem of Vista booting slowly by not booting Vista at all. That is, of course, what's going on here. This machine is dual booting. I've investigated what it's dual booting, and you won't be surprised. To save us a lot of time, yes, people in the audience going, if it's so slow, I would have just put Linux on it. That's exactly what they did. This is, of course, Linux.
Yeah.
What else would it be? Let me show you. All right, so we've booted back into Windows. We've waited for all...
Oopsies. Like, you'll find, if a device... If there's a device that has some kind of programmatic functionality, be it a microwave where you can press buttons and it will load a clock, like a clock of some kind, and it has a little more than the most basic functionality, it probably got Linux on it. Your smart toaster, your fridge, with some kind of like interface, like touchscreen interface or even button interface. It's probably a Linux, some sort of Linux version specifically built for that device. Yeah, DVD player with like really basic button interface and playback interface probably got Linux on it. It's Windows Vista, but the point I'm trying to make is like that AV mode. It's either a partition of the hard drive, literally has a small Linux partition that specifically runs the DVD mode, or it's even possible that there's a separate, very small storage space built into the computer, into the laptop somewhere, which has a small Linux operating system that just does image and video audio playback. Yeah. I never knew this existed. I never even came across this kind of thing in my time at the time. Again, if you just install a clean install of Vista, it probably worked totally fine. I'm gonna move on from now, but if you want to watch the rest of this video, this is a video by Cathode Ray Dude. He seems to be an interesting channel. I might subscribe. I'm gonna watch the rest of that in my own time. Yeah. My brother had a laptop that was even smaller than that had, I think, Vista on it, or maybe had XP. But it had the similar thing where it's like, it's so small and lightweight that it was borderline unusable because the components inside it were so underpowered. But it was just enough to do what my brother needed it to do at the time, so he was just like, would take it around with him and use it from time to time for work related stuff. Yeah, I don't know why he had an Amogus shirt, but whatever the case. We have about 5 minutes left of the stream, officially, but there's a few things that have been posted here. We'll watch whatever we can, and then we'll wrap up the stream, and whatever I don't get to, we'll watch next month.
In 2020, with Minecraft 1.
Wait, I feel like I got suggested this video.
Mojang did something unprecedented. They disrupted the game's tech tree, a tier system that has been in place from the very beginning, and that has never been tampered with quite like this. Personally, I never thought this kind of thing would happen. Mojang has been resolute on certain parts of this game's design, and there are some things they've unwaveringly never budged on. I thought this was one of the hills they'd die on. And yet, here we are today. As exciting as it is to see the new Netherite tier added to the game, this change means so much more than just a new set of gear. This decision is a massive shift in philosophy and has opened a box with consequences that reach every corner of this game we call Minecraft. So subscribe if you like what you see. I'm Simply Sark. Diamond is dead, and the future of Minecraft is suddenly looking a lot spicier.
Well, Diamond isn't dead, because you need Diamond to get Netherite. But the video is really good at expressing one of the issues I've felt with Minecraft, a lot with Minecraft.
This is so surprising, and why the addition of Netherite is much bigger than the sum of its parts. We need to look back into Minecraft's past. From practically the get-go, Minecraft's tier tree has looked like this. Wood, stone, iron, gold placed dubiously somewhere around here, and finally, diamond. This was the progression.
Yeah, I wouldn't even put it like that. I'd put diamond like up here. Or like half and half. Somewhere here. Because... I mean, no, I put it above the iron, because gold has its place, but it's... You usually want to use iron over gold. I would almost put it like wood, stone, and even wood, stone. Wood you may as well not even include in that list. It's just stone, because you get wood just to get stone, and then you get rid of it immediately. So it's stone, iron, and diamond. It's really...
And it has remained untouched throughout it all. Why it's remained like this is an interesting question, and it has all sorts of different answers. The simplest is that when something remains unchanged for long enough, people start to grow attached. And the longer you put off doing anything, the harder and harder it becomes to prise those roots out of the ground. For good or bad, the Minecraft tech tree became iconic for how it worked.
Right.
You punch a tree with your bare hands, you craft in your silly little squares, you never dig straight down, and at the end of it all, there is a shiny blue rock in a cave above lava, and it alone, is the ultimate item. The actual gameplay structure became part of Minecraft's brand itself, and you do not mess with your brand identity without a very good reason. One of the more interesting points is about how Minecraft's progression isn't actually that important. In fact, it's kind of intentionally unimportant. The funny thing is that even though the diamond tier has always been Minecraft's highest tier, it can be laughably easy to reach it. It presents itself as the end game, but with a touch of luck and planning, you can actually get diamonds in your very first day, under 10 minutes, or even less if you're really fortunate. This could be seen as shallow in depth. The progression is bare bones and is over before you really start feeling it. But it's also a clever way on keeping the focus of the game where it's meant to be, player creativity. There are two kinds of feedback loops, and different people tend to prefer one over the other. The first is where people like to be told what to do, and the other is where people want to be left to their own devices. A great way of illustrating this is with vanilla Minecraft versus modded Minecraft. Modded Minecraft excels at catering to that first type of person, a heavy progression system with what can feel like an endless amount of pre-prepared activities. They're laid out for you straight out the oven, and the finishing line is miles away. It's out on the horizon, and who knows how long it'll take to get there. The satisfaction loop stems from being rewarded for completing a task, then being given a new task, over and over again. It's fun because you don't have to think much about it. Just do this, we'll treat you, then we'll give you something new to do. The reason some people don't like Minecraft and struggle to get into it is because vanilla doesn't rely too much on that feedback loop. It teaches you that you have to make your own fun goals and tasks. And some people don't like that. They want to be told what to do, they want a clear path to follow. But for people who enjoy that freedom and independence, they're essentially given a different kind of satisfaction loop. Because the owner
Wait, they're on the wrong...
imagination, there's
No, this isn't right.
Never an end, as long as you can think of something to do.
They didn't do checkers right. They did the checkers wrong. The checkers are always on the same color. Oh no, they did it. They positioned it right, but the Minecraft the chest doesn't have the right number of spots. That's what's wrong. I was like, there's something not right here. You shouldn't have pieces like that. Isn't that right? Or am I mistaken? Or am I... Wait, am I just crazy? I think I might just be crazy. No, I'm right. I am right. For a second there, I doubted myself. Let's have a look at this. Open the image in a new tab. See, all the pieces are on brown. So you never have a piece here and here because you can't move that to that spot. Yeah. The fact that these two discs are next to each other is wrong.
This is the reason some people can play Minecraft for years without ever getting bored.
Play some modded again.
While modded offers much more tangible content, it instills this idea in your mind that you're only having fun when there's that next shiny gadget coming up. And when you
Modding community seems to have gotten themselves together somewhat. Oh, good.
If it took weeks to get there, there's now nothing left to do, because the game was teaching you that it would feed you, not you yourself. If we return to our main theme, you can see how Minecraft's original tech tree encouraged that sort of independent mindset, and it makes sure not to distract you for too long. The journey to Diamond Tier isn't stretched out, and by reaching it quite early into the game, it doesn't facilitate this hand-holdy feedback loop. You get satisfaction for making your own choices and seeing them to completion, not because there's 100 new tiers you still need to work through. It could be argued that by abolishing this long-established precedent and expanding the equipment tiers, you're encouraging an expectation in players' minds that the game is about hitting hard milestones and not making them for yourself. Of course, this simplified tier system has downsides too, and it's the core reason that many other aspects of the game have been bottlenecked as a result of its existence. As to not displace Diamond as the top dog, the concept of enchantments was created. This was a good compromise that allowed the game to protect its branding and convention, but also buff up tools, weapons, and armor to ease parts of the game players felt were becoming a little tedious. While this worked quite well, eventually people started getting hungry for new content again. But Mojang had backed themselves in the corner a bit. They couldn't really push more and more enchantment levels without the game just becoming an enchantment manager, but they also didn't want to add new tiers. This is where the biggest flaw to the lightweight tier system kicks in. The tiers don't have enough breathing room from one another to differentiate themselves. Because block hardness can be defined on a scale of wood to diamond, that means other tool types also need to adhere to this small scaling system. The difference in strength between a wooden sword and a diamond sword is actually quite marginal. In fact, if you look at it from iron to diamond, that line becomes extremely blurry, to the point that diamond, the top tier, doesn't have that much advantage over the much more common iron tier. There's the added insult that because these tiers were designed to be so close together, it's hard to justify retroactively introducing mid-tiers between the existing types. And because they'd used the enchant system to create secondary properties like Fortune and Silk Touch, they'd lost the ability to create meaningful offshoot tiers via perks like that. If a new pick was added with the ability to insta-smelt iron and gold ore, shouldn't that just have been an enchantment instead? However, the issue runs even deeper into the game. The scaling problem is a major factor as to why Minecraft combat feels so bland. With such a small damage scale to work with, it's difficult to create interesting exchanges because the variety in enemy health points needs to be heavily restricted. Most Minecraft enemies have about 20 health points. Stone, a tier that can be reached in the realm of a minute, deals 5 damage. Sharpness 5 diamond deals 10. The difference in blows required to defeat the most common health point type is 2. From the beginning of the game to the end, the breadth of combat is a difference of 2 blows. And because the damage output is restricted by the tier system, this also means enemy health can only go so high. An enemy can't have 1000 health points because even a Sharpness 5 diamond sword would take too long to get through it. But that also means lower tier weapons are still decently effective against what should be high level enemies. Combat is unrewarding because the game has to fit the entire cast of enemies, early and late game, into basically the same damage scale. And it's unsatisfying because it doesn't feel like you needed to progress much to be able to beat them. There's also an issue Minecraft has related to loot. A lot of the time, it feels like the game doesn't know what to give you as a prize, and some rewards seem rather stingy and
I
uninspired.
will say that's true.
You get through a woodland mansion, and you don't really feel like you've been given much. And this all stems back to the tier system. If in cities, the final challenge at last actually get to give you the best.
I will say that is something I've had a problem with Minecraft for a long time. It's the reason why I always say how much I like Terraria and in comparison to Minecraft, is that you do something significant and you feel like you get a significant reward for it. You find a pyramid in the desert biome, and in the pyramid there's some fucking cool loot in there. You find you stumble upon a sky island and you get cool loot. You defeat a difficult boss, and if you're lucky, you get a cool weapon or a cool thing, like mount, or a cool thing to use. Yeah. Minecraft, I've always, to be fair, like, it has to be said, like, now that I'm thinking about it, the more I think about it from this context of this video, the more I'm reminded of the rants that I've had in the past about Minecraft. He mentioned how the progression can feel shallow, he said earlier, because the distance between, like, stone and diamond is quite short. You can get diamonds within the first few minutes if you're lucky. And honestly, I guess that's kind of what I've frequently thought that when playing Minecraft. Not that necessarily because of the whole, like, you can get to diamonds super quickly thing, but there's so little variation in what is there. Like, I've talked about this before. I think the problem with Minecraft is that they spend ages getting one particular thing working exactly the way they want it to. A good example is the one that I think I used in the past was bees. They had a whole update that was just bees. They made the bee, they got it working with, like, nests or hives or whatever you want to call them. And they had the whole honey thing, honey blocks, and the honey blocks, while they're a huge change to the whole redstone, sticking to things but not to gel, that's to slime. They had this. They spent all this time developing the bee. As far as I recall, other than the bat, the bee is like one of the only flying things that exists. The bee and the bat are like the only flying mobs that. Oh, there's the parrot too, I suppose. But okay, what I immediately thought of when I saw they added the bees, and I was talking about updates before. The difference, an example that you could theoretically use, the difference between the likes of Terraria and Minecraft. And the Phantom. Fuck. Forgot about the Phantom. Yeah. I guess I was thinking more so like non-hostile. But yeah. The fucking Phantom. A great example of terrible choice. Terrible design. So yeah. Let's focus in. They were making the bee. They'd already made the bats in the past, so they've already had, like, a flying mob, and the bats are completely useless. They don't do anything, they don't provide anything, they're actually useless, and in fact are a hindrance because they get in your way sometimes when you're trying to fight shit. And then they spend all this time making the bee. I feel like it's a difference in the philosophy of the design of old Minecraft, Terraria, and new Minecraft, where old Minecraft, they'd sometimes just throw something in that's pointless, like the poison potato or the bat. It has 0 point. It just exists. It's a thing that exists. Cool, it exists. Nowadays it feels like they feel the need to have everything mean something important, that they can't bring themselves to just add variety. So yeah, they spend all this time making the bee float around and do its thing, and that the whole update is just that bee. You look at Terraria by comparison. I feel like the equivalent update that Terraria would do, if they were doing an update that was specifically focused on something like that, they add the squirrel, multiple versions of the squirrel, like the red what the hell are they called? They had like a blue jay and the red variant of the blue jay, which I forget the name of. They add like butterflies, worms, fucking like goldfish. They'll add like a whole variety of small animal that doesn't really do anything. Yeah, the Deep Dark and Ancient Cities are very cool, I will say that. But the loot is so useless. Exactly. Music disc, fast sneaking, that's it. Well, I would say there's like 3 things that they added for the loot for that area. It's the music disc, the fast sneaking enchantment, and the crystal, the ancient crystal thingy, which you turn into the compass. The thing is that they could have I feel like they focus in so hard on like one thing that they forget that people like variety. I've never crafted a lol, but that's because I use map mods, which is unfair. Right, fair enough, yeah. Yeah. They spend all this time, they like add amethyst, for instance. They add the amethyst geode. They added the singular amethyst like blocks that are associated with the amethyst geode. They make it so that you can get the amethyst crystal, and to make that thing, make a spyglass, and that's it. Death pointing compass seems like a strange item to put in one of the hardest places in the game, though. Yeah, sure. Interesting thing to point out. Yeah. Whereas I feel like you look at Terraria by example. Terraria would probably, if they were going to add geodes, like locations that are like geodes underground, you have an amethyst geode, a sapphire geode, a topaz geode, all the forms of geode you can get that add all the varieties of geode all at once. And each geode type would the different gems are used for all sorts of different things. Like you get, like, for instance, if Minecraft was to do something like Terraria did, I could imagine Minecraft adding, like, if they did the lightsaber like Terraria did, Minecraft would add a lightsaber, and then that would be it. It would be one lightsaber, and it would do a specific thing that is unique to the lightsaber, and that's it. Whereas Terraria, every gem can make a different color of lightsaber. And then there's an upgrade where you can get the beam saber or whatever. It's the next layer of lightsaber above it. That's like an upgrade to the lightsaber. So there's progression within the small things and variety of choice. Yeah, I can't get past that Minecraft, they made the bee. Why not make a bunch of other insects at the same time? That's what I was saying at the time. I was like, why not add like dragonflies at the same time? Why not add fireflies? They tried to add them, but they didn't bring them in. Why not add a bunch of stuff all together that are around, like, use the same like code, use the same like basic like insect behavior codes, or find an overlap between the bee and other flying insects, and use that time and that code and that energy to make a variety of interesting flying insects. Sak has a bunch of videos where he discusses his ideas for stuff like copper and the like. Right, such good ideas, and then Mojang finishes it, and it's so disappointing. Yeah. Yeah. Which is archaeology video earlier, and comparing it to the finished product is just sad. I will actually, once again, I'll save this, and I'll watch some of Sak's stuff about that, because I've talked about that for years. Since like the B update, I've been talking about this as my problem with Minecraft, and like we talked about that like when the Isolager versus the what was that update? What was that mob choice? Oh, it's Glow Squid, Isolager, or no, it wasn't Isolager. That's the cool name. It was. Oh no, Isolager was the name. It's Chillager was what we thought it should be called. The Isolager, the Glow Squid, and the Mushroom thing. I was annoyed because, like, I thought the Isolager was interesting because it's like a new mob, the new hostile mob. They hadn't had hostile mobs in a while. But like again, the Glow Squid and the Mushroom. No, not the Mushroom. The Moobloom. His last point was about how the very first loot in the game villages are iron tools and diamond drops, and then the very last loot in the game is diamond tools. Yes. Yeah. Very true. Yeah, they're right. I felt like the two options, including the one that was chosen, had such like yeah. I will say, having there be like a squid and then a glow squid, that's cool. There's variety. But it when it came to the mob vote, like a reskin of an already existing mob is not enough to be varied, to be considered varied. Honestly, when the fucking glow squid won the vote, I feel like they retroactively like, fuck, what do we have to do something with this squid to make it worthwhile, and they added the glow ink sac after the fact. I'm pretty sure that wasn't a decision that they made prior to it winning. I think they made the glow ink sac after the fact to justify adding that mob. Yes, if the glow squid actually glowed, there'd be much more functionality to it. That'd be interesting. Honestly, though, I would have preferred, once again, if when the glow squid won, they had a bunch of squid varieties, or had a bunch of like aquatic animal varieties. I will say, the one time that they got it right was the aquatic update. They added a bunch of coral of all kinds of varieties. They added a bunch of fish of all sorts of varieties. They added I feel like the aquatic update is an example of what they should do with most updates, where they come up with a few things that will add to the world, and then they iterate on them a bunch of times, so you have a bunch of variety in that update. Yeah, I don't know. It pisses me off so much that there's the one bee thing, the one insect thing. There's only the parrot, isn't there? There's one bird thing that you can get, one tameable bird, and there's there's one of this and one of that and one of this other thing. It's so lacking in variety. I will say I am glad that when they're adding the trims, the armor trims, at least there's a bunch of armor trims. They've added a ton of armor trims, which is good. '17 to 19 is probably the best they've done for a long time. Yes, the New World gen is very cool. I will say that's what I will say. It's like I think they're getting better. They're getting better. The archaeology stuff, where there being like a few different, like many different varieties of pot, and I think there should be more than one pot type, but maybe that's asking too much. Or maybe rather than just pots, have other block types that you can have variety textures of. Whatever the case. Like maybe so you have the pot that has the different sides. You can make like a block that uses the same pieces, but maybe a block of clay in the center, so you're adding it to a block, so you can place it on a wall like hieroglyphics. Having it so you could place a shard on a sign, and it turns into like a tablet that you can place somewhere would be really cool. Having a few extra varieties of use would be interesting to me. Also, I have very strong opinions about Minecraft's direction that I disagree with. Like, I have some hot takes that I shouldn't probably go into because I need to wrap the stream up. Feels like a new game. Yeah, I definitely will say the new terrain generation and the new like depth of the game is really cool. I like that a lot. I just wish archaeology was nearly as good as the prototype. Yes, agreed. I will say, archaeology at the moment is kind of boring, but I think if they added more variety of usage of the shards, if they added more variety of what you can get from archaeology, not just stuff that already exists, they so commonly will just fill stuff with stuff that already exists. Make it new stuff. Like, for example, when they first showed up archaeology, they had these pots that you had to put over a fire to cook them. Those pots that they had in that update, in that version of the update, had like a Grecian or Grecian. They look like they're from ancient Greece, and the pots we have now are more like the desert style, and that's fine. But why not add the Greek style as well? And make, depending on where you do the archaeology, you get different shard types that work on different surfaces or different, pots. Why not add jungle shards and desert shards and like grassland shards that have different styles to them? Maybe the grassland shards have like a more Viking style, and the desert shards they have their style already. Maybe make the jungle shards more sort of like Aztecian, like make them feel more like the jungle temple. I forgot to submit it for earlier, but there's a mini talk from the 1.18 terrain developer. Ah, nice. Cool, yeah. Well, once again, I'll set this to watched. We'll wrap this up here. So yeah, we'll get to this next. Although, Chris, you wanted me to see this, I think? Or this? We'll watch it next time. We'll watch it next time. Yeah. No, I was gonna say I have some hot takes. I'll leave one hot take that I think should be added to Minecraft, which would fundamentally change Minecraft, but I think it would be for the better. And that is that, you got redstone. Redstone is currently used as the like electrical system of the game. It's currently used for all mechanisms. I personally think that with the addition of copper, they should have added the ability to make essentially copper wires. Make a wire system. And do it like Terraria, or like you can make it very similar to Redstone, where you can have different colored wires that cross over each other. So you have one wire going this way and then another wire going this way. It probably will make the game way too laggy though. This is the problem with this setup. And you could have the wires send different signals, like have the wire send a unique signal compared to a redstone signal. So like have the wire, like the problem at the moment is that so much shit interferes with each other with redstone. Having a wire system, I think, would be just so much nicer. It would fundamentally change the like mechanical side of Minecraft, but I honestly think that they should have some sort of wire system rather than redstone. Wires would be waterproof, so you could have water in amongst your redstone, and you could use a combination of copper and redstone and then like something to coat it, and the coating, the color of it, whatever, the coating would have a color associated with it, so you could have wires of red, green, blue, yellow, whatever, and they wouldn't interfere with each other. So you could have this thing wires to this, and it doesn't interfere with anything else. And you'd have wires running alongside each other on the same block. Like you have multiple candles on the same block, you could have multiple wires going along the same block, and they send separate signals. Maybe it's too much to ask, but that is something that I would say I think should be in Minecraft, personally. I know a lot of people disagree with me on that, and that is fine. That's just the way I see it. But anyway, make it look like they're in real life in Minecraft. No. You still want them to be blocky. You still want it to look like Minecraft. But yeah, that's my opinion. And yeah, I hope you guys had a good time with this. I know I ranted even more in this stream than I did last time, but we got through. We caught up a bunch from where we were last time. Yeah. So we at least caught up to what was posted. I think it was today. Yeah. Stuff from today. I caught up to today, so that's good. Good lunch. Well, thank you. Yep, I'm gonna go eat something, and I'll see you guys. I'll be streaming again tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Abduction. I meant to mention it while there were still a lot, like all the 8 people or so here. But if you're not watching Abduction, I would highly recommend it. Because it's a really cool game, and I'll be streaming it tomorrow. I might be finishing it tomorrow. If you haven't seen the previous streams, doesn't matter. Check it out. Just see what you think. It's a cool game. But I'll see you there. I'll see you later. See you guys. Bye. Like the video. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Bye.